women bring forth life. Men plant the seed. Okay? So, Jay,
If you want, man, I remember I used to go out with I used to take an ugly chick out with me on purpose just to get other chicks.
A lot of these women choose men who are weaker or choose men who are fuckboys and then complain about the very same
Man, want them to be an alpha male and all this dumbass shit.
When you're doing something, you gotta be careful about that type of shit. Jay, what you right now? You're trying to steal another idea. You're stealing another idea. Tell the truth, ain't you?
Nah, I'm just taking over that idea.
It has nothing to do with that shit.
Yo. What's good, everybody? What's good? This is your boy JTL, aka Op from the North 18. Back on another Sunday evening to give y'all some good news, some good information. So on your way in, make sure you like, share, follow if you're on Facebook, and definitely make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. All right. So had a show yesterday when my boy JVJ had one. Let's start with JVJ. Shout out to the brother. Make sure y'all subscribe to him too. And he was talking about some things that had to do with Candace Owens versus Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West. And we was talking about some things, and I ended up saying something about redlining. And I was like, you know what? I always talked about doing a show on redlining. So let me go ahead and finally do the damn show. You know what I'm saying? So it's and it parallels to certain things that we have issues with from back then to now. And I guess you would call it implicit biasness, because some people see it, some people don't. There are laws in place to help fight these situations, but sadly enough, it's a little bit more of it's covert, it's undercover, right? So we have to figure out a way to keep fighting these things. And my main thing is ownership, owning your own ish, so that it will simplify some things. Sadly enough, there are people that still have that old played out mindset that are in positions of power and may cause a little oppression. Certain people feel like they're good if they, we stay where we stay, they stay where they stay. And sometimes those lines may cross intertwine, whether your kids go to school with them or whatever. So it's going to happen. But what I want to do, like I said, this article is about the color of money. It's going to be certain sections that I'm going to read through. This is not just going to be, showing a video and all of that like we do. Right now, it's time to put on your thinking caps, absorbing the information that I'm giving, because this was a article back in the 80s that won the Pulitzer Prize. So that means the person who made this article did a damn good job to win that. You get what I'm saying? So the first thing I want to talk about is actually breaking down what it is when it comes to red lining. All right. So feast your eyes, right? Okay. So let me see. Let me make it just see if I can make it a little bit bigger for y'all. All right, get me out of the way. All right. So it says, in 1933, faced with a housing shortage, the federal government began a program explicitly designed to increase and segregate America's housing stock. Author Richard Rothstein says the housing programs began under the New Deal were tantamount to a state-sponsored system of segregation. The government's efforts were primarily designed to provide housing to white, middle-class, lower middle-class families, he says. African Americans and other people of color were left out of the new suburban communities and pushed instead into urban housing projects. Rothstein's new book, The Color of Law, examines the local, state, and federal housing policies that mandated segregation. He notes that the Federal Housing Administration, which was established in 1934, furthered the segregation efforts by refusing to insure mortgages in and near African American neighborhoods, a policy known as redlining. At the same time, the Federal Housing Association was subsidizing builders who were mass producing entire subdivisions for whites, with the requirement that none of the homes be sold to African Americans. All right. Oh, and before we get started, We got the brother Rob in here. What's good with you, bro?
What's good with you, bro? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. Glad to see you. I didn't know you was gonna show up, but I'm pleasant surprised, man. Let the people know what's up with you and where they can find you at, real quick.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you can find me at What We Know podcast. With me and my boy JT. Have a show every week. And yeah, man. JBJ told me about the show. He told me to come through if I can. So.
Okay, for sure. I appreciate you coming through, man. But yeah, like we was talking about the other night, certain things, and it, pushed me to like, let me go ahead and do this show because I had been talking about it for a good little minute. So I'm just gonna kind of go over the history of things, saying? Certain things that we face. And like I stated, you got some people out there with that mindset that want to keep some of these things going. And I think ownership is one of the most important things when it comes to our people to actually have something, so we don't have to keep complaining about what somebody else is doing or guessing that that's what they're doing, because it may not be that all the time.
Yeah. Everything you said is right on the money. It's pretty much the same thing Dr. Claude Anderson is saying. Talking about the real racism is through economics. So, yeah, you're right. We got to have some type of ownership, or if not even ownership, just have some type of cash flow where you invest in things where your family could touch down the line.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm with that. So let me go ahead and let me get started. Pull up one of these articles. All right. So boom, here we go. The Color of Money. So this is by Bill Dedman at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, published May 2nd, 1988. So this is going to talk about a brother who started his own business and went through some changes when it came to the red line. So it says Irvin Betts had only $14 and an 8th grade education, but he knew lettuce. In 1981, he put $4 worth of gas in his 1972 Gremlin, bought a case of shredded lettuce for $10, drove to a restaurant and made a $2 profit. Then he bought another case of lettuce and headed out again. 7 years later, Irvin Betts is still delivering lettuce, 900 cases a week, as well as pomegranates and 277 other items. With 7 trucks and 22 employees, Betts produced in Forest Park sells $3 million in produce a year. Betts, who is black, built his business without a loan. Not that he didn't apply a couple of times, but he may do without. That's often the only way a black person in Atlanta can build a business, according to local business experts. Fred Stone, Georgia District Director of the Small Business Administration, traditionally, blacks and other minorities have had a problem receiving financing from banks. I have to admit, it's still a problem. Sherman Golden, Assistant Director of the Fulton County Department of Planning and Economic Development, said redlining is worse on the commercial side than in housing. Charles Blackman, a former bank officer who is a director of Atlanta Minority Business Development Center, it's quite obvious that you have one set of lending rules for white males and another set of rules for somebody else. We're not talking about an occasional case. Rayleigh Murphy, president of Renaissance Capital Corp., a minority small business investment corporation. The bank is making these loans to white establishments. You don't want to think it's out and out racism, but you wonder. Marvin Arrington, president of the Atlanta City Council, said he asked banks 6 months ago to pool $5 million for loans to businesses along Auburn Avenue, which in the early 1900s was the country's most vigorous black business area. I got not one favorable response. Federal law, the Community Reinvestment Act, says banking, savings, and loan associations have an affirmative obligation to help meet the community's credit needs, including business loans, particularly those guaranteed by government agencies such as the Small Business Administration. So let me ask you your thoughts on that real quick. So far, what I just read, Rob. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
It's pretty much same things I know I haven't heard before. When it comes to black people getting certain access to certain things like business loans, regardless of business loans or any type of grants, just to help them put them in a better situation, financially. I mean, a lot of people think, think it's just, if you have good credit, you could get access to this thing. But no, it's like it's so much, as a people that we need to start educating ourselves about, educating about business credit, what I'm saying, LLCs, what I'm saying, like shit like that. So, yeah, I mean, this article, and what's the name of this article?
The Color of Money.
Color of Money. Yeah, I mean, they speaking some real jewels in this article. A lot of them is, it's a lot of facts in this article.
Yeah, it's like, see, that's another thing. When it came to blacks being Republicans, the thing was we were left to our own devices pretty much. So you had to make do. And I when it came to desegregation with MLK, may rest in peace, no disrespect, but it was like, I think versus trying to desegregate, we should have just been pushing for laws for protection of our communities, because we had a lot of communities that were, burnt down to rubble, and it's like we were doing well. So why would we have to integrate? Some people thought that would be the best decision, but was it really? Because if now so many of our people ended up going to Democrats, and like I stated the other night, it's because they seemed like they cared. Yeah. And they got so involved, but then it made a lot of us just use the system as a crutch versus still building.
Yeah, what with segregation, that it can always be tricky, right? Because I can see why people was probably pushing for it. Just the thought them to have certain like we talk about certain opportunities, or be able to be in certain neighborhoods that they probably dream about being in. So I can understand why would people push it in, but look down the line that think about segregation that probably helped us, that a lot of people moved out those neighborhoods, and now them neighborhoods is it's quote unquote the hood now. I think around the time of segregation, that's when I would say correct me if I'm wrong, the black family was declining as well. So
yeah. Once the desegregation happened, especially in the 60s, it turned to a lot of real declining, because, and this is one thing, not trying to start nothing, but this is numbers we can see by the Moynihan report. A lot of black women were having kids out of wedlock and getting housing assistance. So a lot of them didn't see a reason to really be with a man and have a family. Like we did a video one time about a couple months ago or so. Jay showed a mini documentary series from back then in the 80s. It was like 86, 7, something like that. And the white journalist was asking the young black girls, it was like maybe almost 10 black girls in there, all had babies on housing. And he asked, would any of you want to be married and have a family? Only one raised her hand.
Yeah, that's wild.
Only one. And the other 9 was like, no. And he asked questions like, why? Like, no, that's too much responsibility. And he looking like, girl, you got 2 kids. What you mean that's too much responsibility to get help? And then he was like, but that's help. No, I feel like I can do it on my own. So that's where a lot of the mindset went to, whether a lot of women want to respect it or not. Let me go to the chat real quick.
You said, what was the name of that documentary?
I gotta get it, but I'll link it if I can find it tonight. I'll put it in.
Is it The Vanish of the Black Family?
It might be.
Because we did a show on that documentary. Honestly, we did that show like it's one of our a few weeks ago. We did a breakdown of that documentary. Did it like follow a couple young couples around? Yeah, so a lot of
day to day.
So basically, a lot of young single mothers. When you said they was in a room, was this like in the 80s or something like that?
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
Yep. So we actually broke down that documentary. Like we broke down. We saw when they was in the room, they asked them the questions. Do you think you need a man? And a lot of them say like, no, I didn't have a dad in my life, so I turned out fine. You know, a lot of them think, and one girl, yeah, like you said, one girl says a lot of responsibility, you know, but you like 16, 17, you got 2 kids, you know,
and didn't even want the help because she figured she can take care of it on her own.
Yep.
And she thought she was the shit. But let me go to the chat real quick. Got Red Illusion in here. I almost called him redlining. What up, Red? Red said redlining is when I go to the barber and get a line up. Yeah, I bet it is. He also said, I say it's a very dusty green. We got Fox and Moon in. She said, salute to Op, Rob. This conversation is definitely needed. Appreciate you. She said, what up to Red Illusion too. He said black families were a lot better off before affordable housing assistance. Yeah, that's my point. We really were, but that's where the Democrats came in and became a problem because they wanted to become a crutch. But it was beneficial to them to steal our votes away from Republicans. That's basically what happened. But it made us real reliant on the system, and that really messed us up. Got Death Note in the building. What's good with you? All right, so back to the article. So this one is the story of 2 neighborhoods, the tale of 2 neighborhoods, one black and one white. So it said the Gresham Park neighborhood in South DeKalb County is a quiet and neat. The houses are simple starters built after World War II, brick over granite, 2 or 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. The neighborhood, and also real quick, after World War II, that's like, you know, when we came back and certain things just was not just not right for us. And, you know, the great white migration is, we're going to probably talk about it. The neighborhood between McLennan Elementary School and Old Scottsdale Textile in Mill, North Central DeKalb is older. Mostly wood frame houses, some of them shotgun houses, some still with outhouses and chicken coops. There are also some differences in the people who live in the 2 neighborhoods. The residents of Gresham Park make a little more money than the residents of McLennan. They are better educated. They stay in the neighborhood longer. And most residents of Gresham Park are black. Most residents of McLennan are white. There's a difference in where they borrow money too. In black, I don't know if I'm even saying Gresham Park from 1981 through 1986, banks and savings loan associations made 25 home purchase loans in the area that has 1,728 single-family structures. According to federal reports reserved by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and white McLennan, in the same period, banks and savings loans made 176 loans in a neighborhood of 1,438 single-family structures. That's a difference of 8 times the number of loans per 1,000 households. Bankers contend. I'm sorry, what?
No, I was agreeing. Yeah.
Oh, bankers contend that the difference in lending between white and black neighborhoods in Metro Atlanta is probably caused by higher turnover in white neighborhoods. Real estate records for Gresham Park, McLennan, and 21 other neighborhoods checked by the Journal-Constitution suggest otherwise. Turnover in Gresham is less than in McLennan, 50% less. But of the homes that are sold, banks and savings and loans finance 31% in McLennan, while they finance 4% in Gresham Park, according to 1986 and 87 records analyzed by the Journal. Gresham Park home buyers receive the other 96% of their home loans from unregulated mortgage companies, finance companies, the seller, and other individuals, often a higher interest rate than those offered by banks and savings and loans. Several real estate agents who work in Gresham Park say they have learned not to send black applicants to banks and savings and loans. I normally refer to a bank or savings and loan only if the buyer requested, said Jan Reese, whose for sale signs dot the neighborhood. They are more conservative. They want the strongest, most stable customers. It's a domino effect. If they would do a few, they would get a reputation and we would send them more buyers. Gresham Park used to be a white neighborhood in the late 60s. A few blacks moved into the neighborhood, then a few more, then the rush began. That sounds like something we'll do too when we find out what the spot is.
A lot of this, like, what's that? I don't even remember this show. I think it was on Netflix, or I think it was called Day.
They?
And I think, and I'm not too sure. I'm about to find out. But anyway, but what you just said, basically, what that show is about in the early '60s, I believe, and a black family moved to Compton, and this is when Compton was like majority of white, you know, and it was showing they white people was having certain conversations in the show. When they saw the black family, they was like, if they was basically talking about name, like they didn't like that, this black families in the neighborhood, and they was basically having conversation like, if we allow one in our one black family in our neighborhood, ain't no telling how many more that will be coming.
Yeah.
So
that sounds about right.
A lot of these hoods, when I hear, it kind of bothers me when I hear, niggas be like, oh, this is my hood. This is like, no, bro, we haven't built no hoods, bro. Like, this is white people built this shit,
I mean, because matter of fact, hold on, I'm gonna go there. I'm glad you said it because that's what it was about to talk about as well. Okay, right here it says the whites were leaving in panic, trying to get away from black folks. Remembers Pat Chapman of Garden Circle, one of the few whites who stayed. It's still one of the nicest neighborhoods anywhere. It's not a high income area, but the blacks who moved in are making more money than a lot of the whites who moved out. See, when if people don't do their history, they're not gonna know these things. And this is another thing people don't realize. All right, so when these communities got redlined, and this happened around World War II, when this situation happened, you got to think, what are they going to do when you got people who run the city who at this time are very racist? They're not going to keep those neighborhoods clean. The police are not going to police those neighborhoods like they should, so the community is going to go down. Just like apartment complexes. If a slumlord gets a nice apartment complex, he's not doing nothing. Over the years, it's going to go down. The quality of the living there is going to go down. So that's how a lot of these places became ghettos, because they were nice when black people moved in. So now they're ghettos. We just tore it up. No, we didn't just tore it up. They just gave up hope, and they didn't want to F with black folks. So then it says the neighborhood fought the white flight. A biracial group called South DeKalb Neighbors accused real estate agents of steering whites away from the neighborhood and blacks into it. Residents sued to stop blockbusting, where homeowners are scared into selling because of racial change. They won a judgment, but the racial change continued. The neighborhood was 88% black by the 1980s census, and the Atlanta Regional Commission estimated it was 93% black in 1987. Since the shift, the remaining whites and the new blacks of Gresham Park and all of South DeKalb have claimed they haven't been getting their share of county money. See, like I said, they have argued for more money for their schools. They suspect the banks are avoiding their neighborhood. See, that's what I'm talking about. They didn't care to keep it up. So what you think is going to happen over time, if you don't keep a home up, if you don't keep a car up, it's going to deteriorate.
That's crazy. That's so Detroit right there, bro, because it's like certain like neighborhoods in Detroit, especially like, let's take, for example, back in the day, when we talk about Motown, that was Detroit. Detroit was once upon a time was Hollywood. And you had a lot of celebrities living in the different areas in Detroit. But now a lot of them areas now, man, they consider the hood now. A lot of them homes is abandoned. Nigga, bro, it's some houses in Detroit, bro. You could literally get a mansion. A house probably almost costs $1 million in Detroit. 2 blocks, 3 blocks. You would just the hood is right there. You know what I'm saying? So that's shit wild, bro.
But that's the crazy thing. Like, okay, so I seen one interview or debate Candace Owens was having with Mark Lamont Hill, soft ass, and he brought up just like he was talking about Detroit. She tried to say it was because black people were rioting, that's why businesses and white people took flight, and it's like, no,
that's a little part of it. That's a little
bit, but she's not talking about what happened before that. They was already having those issues before that. And you got to think the police was knocking down brothers and sisters left and right.
Yeah.
You damn right we gonna riot. But that does not mean that was the main reason why. Like, because like when they talk about shipping businesses overseas, moving them, they been was doing that.
Yeah.
Because the industry still was going after the 60s when it came to like building cars and stuff. Like I got an uncle that used to work for them when he was growing up.
Yeah. Only thing I would say about that, you know, and you know, you're right, you know, and I see with Candace, because you know, I really rock with Candace. A lot of people don't like when I say that.
Yeah, because she phony, but you know, do you think?
You know, see, you know, but I like bold people. So, you know, a lot of the shit she say, you know, there's some truth into it. But when you talk about the riots and whatnot, you're right. You know, even though that was, I'll say that's the main reason why a lot of our, you know, in our neighborhoods decline. But I just sometimes wish that, you know, and I can understand, like I told you yesterday, sometimes, you know, I say things off of frustration, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm frustrated, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So, but I wish, you know, they would have really come together and thought logically about it, because long term it did, you know, didn't help long term. Because at the end of the day, even though you're destroying your own communities, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, regardless if, you know, I understand you could be frustrated and you know, enough's enough, but even sometimes, you know, we gotta think logic through this shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only reason why I would say, you know, if I had to give it some pushback, I wish, you know, it was more logic, you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. The only thing when I talk to people that grew up in it, and hold on, we got your partner in here. Your partner in crying them up in here. What's good, JT?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? What's poppin'?
It's good.
Chilling.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, you good. Okay. But the only issue when it comes to that, right, is like, because I agree with you, but that's us looking at it in hindsight, right? Versus actually being there. So when I talk to people that grew up in the 60s from wherever, it's like it's when it becomes an outrage. It's when it's like you start thinking no matter what you do, things are not gonna work out. Then you stop giving the F, because it goes from like I remember Tupac said in an MTV interview back in the day, he was like, it went from peaceful protest, we are hungry, please let us in, we are hungry, please let us in, to we hungry, we need some food.
Yeah.
The new generation comes along, is like, I'm picking the lock, I'm coming through the door blasting. You get what I'm saying? So that's where it's sad, is because when you have people asking, then that's where you get the Black Panthers come in, like, F that, we gonna get it by any means necessary. And I think that's something that us as a society has to think about, especially if we talking about breaking the mindset. You can keep it real, but try not to be like Charleston White. That's what I would say. Don't he go a little too far sometimes, and it's like, bro, you lose a lot of people when you say F Pimp C or F Nipsey Hussle or F Tupac. You lose people that are actually on your side.
That's why I told you yesterday. I was like, man, a lot of the shit, even some truth that he be saying, but like, I feel like he a troll too.
Yeah, he be trolling. He tells the truth about it. He said, I'm a troll.
Yeah.
So JT, I don't know how much you got to hear, but if you got to hear enough, what's your thoughts on the show so far?
When I came in, bro, you were talking about the white flight.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure. I actually grew up during the white flight in Detroit.
Okay.
So it was, I remember I was about 4 years old, and I seen how a predominantly white neighborhood ended up being a predominantly black neighborhood. And it was a lot. It was messed up. It was messed up. It was the school system was terrible. Where there used to be parks at was just a dumping ground. It was pretty much terrible.
Yeah, and as I read it, and I was reading in the article, it was just talking about the county not giving up money. They having to fight for that because black people was in that county. So they started redlining decent communities just because black people were staying there. And one part that I just read was also saying that even still to this day, one of the white people that stayed there said the community is still nice. So I think that goes to kind of show it's like, okay, it's not always black people just tearing down a community, but if that community has been left to die for years, and a lot of minorities, not just black, whether Mexican or whoever, Latino, they try to make it seem like they've been doing that to the community, and that's just like half truth. That's not the truth. What we got over here? My bad. Hold on, y'all, real quick. I don't want to lose sight of the chat. So hold on, there we go. So Foxy Moon says, to be honest, I don't want to live in the hood, but economically, it's where I'm at. Shit, crazy, man. It's hard to afford things nowadays. Red Illusion says it was the sudden high taxes in Detroit. Ask any old white folk who got out there. I'm not gonna say that's not gonna be an issue for them too, but it's a lot tied into it. He also said half of the West Side wasn't even red line. Foxy Moon said exactly, Rob. People gotta take care of where they live at. Got Wally in the building. What's good? Wally said salute to the JBJ network. Foxy Moon said, damn, you remember that part of what Pac said? You my friend, LOL. Pac is the man.
Hey, you put that shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm gonna use Pac fan, man. I'm avid. Okay, he just saying what up too. And Wallace says 4 out of 9 likes. Let's get them lights up. Yep. Let's get them lights up. And then Foxy Moon said because of redlining, that's how hip hop came about with the schools be defunded in all the major boroughs in NYC back in the 70s and in the 80s. Got somebody in the background, but I'm letting them come up when they get ready.
I see this nigga.
Hopefully he'll change his shirt before he does.
Hey, I got a jokey joke for my boy JVJ. I was talking to JT earlier. JVJ, bro. Hey, if I close my eyes and hear you talk, I hear Dave Chappelle, bro.
Yep. He's
Right.
just like Chappelle.
What's up, man?
Hey, when you come up, bro, just say Rick James, bitch, one time. Just
Rick James, bitch.
I was gone, bitch.
All right,
You want to smoke this man?
goddamn shark ate me. Fucking shark ate me.
Detroit. We're taking this marijuana.
What up,
man.
JBJ? Let them know what's up. Where to find you at real quick.
Man, what's going on with y'all, man? Let's talk JBJ on YouTube, over here on Sunday. Well, I'm sorry, over here on Saturdays.
There you go.
But you know, and then catch us on Tuesday, man. On Tuesday on J Talk Sports. Because yeah, it's gonna be a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah, I was you lucky if the Lions ain't fucked up at the end, boy. I was ready to talk my shit Tuesday.
Hold on,
Hey,
don't
look.
the Lions got the worst record in the league? Them
No.
and Raiders?
No, bro, relax, bro. No.
Hey,
No,
we-
I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
We can talk about teams like the Broncos got some of the worst records. I
No.
should I ain't even gonna go down a little bit. It's a lot to talk about. Death Note. I'm praying for you, bro.
Oh my God, you right. Oh my.
Be easy for Death Note coming here spazzing, all right? Be
He said,
easy.
hold on, not Lamar.
He gonna pop up out of nowhere. He was just busy.
Lamar had a good game though. So
I thought Justin Tucker was gonna do it.
yeah, he
All
did
right,
it.
let's get back to the show.
Yeah, what y'all
do that-
talking about,
Y'all
man?
do that on Tuesday. All right,
Yeah.
so we talking about redlining. I'm going through the article, The Color of Money, Pulitzer Prize winning article by Bill Dedman.
Mm.
All right.
All right.
So right now we're reading The Tale of Two Neighborhoods and what they're talking about, what happened in Atlanta with white flight.
Oh shit.
All right.
Well, hey, my bad. What up to Robbie and JT? My bad.
There you
Oh, what
go.
up, bro? What up, Brody?
Dude,
What it
All
do?
right. So it says, hold on, let me make sure. Well, that's about big as the screen is. I ain't that good like
That's what she
JBJ
said.
is. Damn, she tried you. All right, so it says John Whittaker, who is white, represents South DeKalb or the county's community development advisory council. He tried to help his daughter apply for a home loan in South DeKalb. They always find the smallest things that they possibly can to deter you. I've had people at banks tell me that they don't lend in zip code 30032, Belvedere in South DeKalb. Whittaker said, you won't get one of them to say it out loud or they'll lose their job. Up in North McLennan, zip code 30033, banks and businesses are investing in the neighborhood. The DeKalb, damn, I fucked up. The DeKalb Farmers Market is nearby. Martyr has a new bus garage. Market Square Mall has been renovated. Several apartment complexes have been added. The small shopping centers near Gresham Park are being renovated. Only in the past 3 or 4 years have residential builders worked near Gresham Park. And Gresham Park has no new apartments. They have... Can you mute your shit, brother? Thank you.
Hey, look, man, it's Gresham.
Gresham, thank you. I knew I was saying it wrong.
And Whitaker.
Rob didn't help me at all, man. He just
That
got
man
me out here
said White
looking.
Taker.
Dang.
Gresham.
Rob got me up here sounding like I was born and raised in Alabama or something.
I'm about to say I couldn't even see it, but I sure can pronounce it. Oh, look at little mama over there. Hey, little mom. Oh, I say it right this time, Rob.
Yes.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. Not 2 times in a row.
Daddy. There you go. Black father, just in case y'all don't see it enough.
Yo, we don't exist, man. Well, we exist, but we just ain't in our kids' lives.
Hey, they're going right there. I doubt Rob just went out and picked up a baby for the school.
Hey, man.
Hey, can I borrow your baby real quick?
Hey, borrow my baby.
Yeah. You can borrow all you want. All my kids for a minute. Shit.
But thank you for your help, Jay. I appreciate it because I was chopping up that damn thing. I'm so sorry.
I got you, man. Hey,
I'm
Foxy.
so sorry.
Foxy told me, hey, man. Hey, Foxy.
What up, Foxy? All right, and it says there have been people who wanted to do an apartment complex, but no one would lend them the money, said Mary Dennis, a planner in the county's community development department. A strong sense of community course through Gresham Park. Residents proudly note that Gresham Park Mets won last year's state Little League championship. What I said wrong?
Nah, I just read Red comment. He said that Dave's a paid actor.
It's a paid actor.
Nah, it's my real baby, nigga.
Oh shit!
Hey, is the baby in what they call it, the Actors Guild? So she get her benefit.
Oh shit! That baby ain't real. That's a paid actor. I'm sorry, man.
All right, let's get back to the article. Y'all stupid. For 4 and 5, 6-year-olds in 1983, the Gresham Park athletics made it to the national tournament for 9 and 10-year-olds. The athletics parents raised money for the trip with barbecues and a car wash, and some expenses they put on a Visa card. I don't know what them talking about for is like the youth winning things and all that. I guess that's supposed to highlight that they have community events going on for the youth, and they're actually doing something, and they're actually having positive outcomes or whatever. But I don't know, man. It's crazy to like read this information now from past tense, and when you learn this information, then when you have conversations with certain people, some people would take the information for what it's worth. Like, all right, you got the numbers, you got the statistics, you can go research it yourself. And then some people will still make excuses and say they don't care nothing about what you're saying. Black people don't have this issue. It's just their fault. So JT, in your opinion, do you think that that this is a situation where it's just on black people these days, or do you think 2 things can be true at once?
2 things can be true at once. I mean, the forces of what's happening economically is one thing. When you do nothing about it is another thing. So that's the problem. It is what it is. We do understand that there's racism in all different ways. So you got systemic racism, and then you have racism where you can't go anywhere. You can't go into certain establishments. Now that type of racism is not as applicable as it used to be in the 60s and the 50s. However, systemic racism is still alive. And one of the reasons why it's still alive is because you just got different groups of people that have different motives, and they don't like other groups of people around them. And a lot of times it doesn't even have to do with race anymore. It actually has to do with the placism, your status Damn your color. It's your status.
Or classism.
Classism. There you go. Absolutely. So I think that's a lot more prevalent than racism. It just is, because there is a bridge that has it's a gap has been bridged with racism when it comes down to it. I mean, it just is. You just got a bunch of people that are from mixed cultures and races and ethnic backgrounds that's been mixing up. So, you know, it's going to close that gap. However, the gap of classism is just never going to be closed. That's just what it is. As long as you have extremely rich people, you're going to always have extremely poor people. And then you're going to have everybody else that's in the middle. When we're talking about what happened at that park, was it a community or was that a park?
Community park.
Okay.
But you know, the families came together, made a little joined into a baseball league, won championships and stuff like that.
Right, and it sounded like what they were doing is what they did here in Michigan. They had PAL leagues. Other places they call it Pop Warner. And you know, they've been still to this day have that, and they've done something with a portion of the community. But when we start talking about one of the biggest things that's happening right now, which is and I wasn't talking about this shit earlier today. When we talk about what's the word where they come in and they start buying up all the property? Gentrification.
Right.
It's going to be, I mean, right now the whole United States is being gentrified. When you actually look at it, you got other countries, people in other countries that's taking control of these communities. One community at a time.
Oh yeah.
You know they got a city, and the next thing you know that they're the majority of the of the state. So you know we've seen that in Texas. We've seen it in parts of California with the Mexicans. You know, shit in Texas they got whole cities that's Mexican. You won't see a
they buying it up.
Yeah.
But see, they and this what I also like about the article. Right here says a look at Gresham Park and McLendon. Gresham Park resides in South DeKalb, earns more money, are better educated, and live in newer homes than residents for McLendon area in North Central DeKalb. But they receive 1/8 as many of their home purchase loans from banks and savings and loans. One possible reason: most residents in Gresham Park are black. Say minority percentage, Gresham Park 88%, McLendon 7%. Income in 1980, $19,008. McLendon $17,222. Percentage of high school graduates 65% in Gresham Park, McLendon 60%. Homes owner occupied 93%, 57%. Ages of homes and years 23, 33. Home purchase loans 136, 170. Like you see how the numbers show where our community was 88% for its black. Theirs was 7% of minorities. But you look, the money was higher income in our community than it was in theirs. Graduates, we beat them by 5%. When it came to homes owner occupied, almost 40%. So when we actually see these breakdowns, especially because this is in Atlanta, but we see those type of numbers, right? And this article is basically talking about how regardless of how well black people were doing in their communities at the time, they still were not, given what was due. That's just like, I don't know if y'all saw the one part where it had the brother that became a millionaire off of damn lettuce.
Yeah. I saw that.
So he made up net was $3 million a year. They still didn't want to give him a loan. So I think when we have these conversations with other people, and I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes I just don't want to have these conversations with people outside of our race. And the reason being because a lot of them will start showing white ignorance or implicit biasness. whether it's on purpose or not. They don't know. And some people will listen, but then you have some people that'll try to argue down because they swear they know more than what you actually know. So I think it's important that we do show these type of things. Just like, and I said this before, you have situations like this where our community was doing better than theirs, but they're thinking, okay, well, what's the problem? How would that happen in Atlanta? How is that possible?
So this is the thing. This is why I'm not so big on being where I'm kumbaya with people that look like me and have my same color skin. I'm more of a person that likes to outsource whatever happens. I don't use banks. I learned that from a white man. That also brokered my mortgage and got me the best possible lowest mortgage. And one of the biggest things he told me was never get with a bank. Why? Do something a lot smaller that where you know that you will be able to get a loan. And that's when you go to your community banks, not those big corporate banks. You get your community banks. We like to call them
credit unions.
Credit unions.
Right.
Which you talking about community bank and credit union? Like which credit unions? Because I think that's important because I never heard that before.
Yeah. So this is a good thing. Like for instance, when you work at a hospital, there are a number of credit unions that actually work and partner with the employees and the corporation. They will tell you that these are what you're gonna, these are your best bets to use. One of the reasons is that they will help you build your credit if you don't have credit or if you have a low credit. They have available credit schools or courses that you can take. Some of them be online. It's more of a community thing. So they're not going to just bullshit with you when it comes down to taking your money and charging you a shitload of money on holding your money. And they are then they're going to loan your money out. See, what a credit union does is that they make you also a shareholder, and they let you know. This is why they would tell you that it's going to take a minimum of $5 to open a savings account, $10 to open a checking account. That money is just not going to be just sitting there. That money actually is what you have as a shareholder to put in. You could put a whole lot more. Then they will show you what a savings marketing account would be also. Plus, they will show you how if you got if you have a car that you have to get refinanced, a lot of times they will refinance it without anything down, so they can keep the service with a low interest rate or APR. This is what credit unions do.
Man. So you could just go through you could like literally like find out like what job, like what banks your job partner with.
Yeah, it's not even just that. It's even in the community. When you dealing with communities, go to credit unions. When you're trying to get a mortgage, that's one of the biggest ways on how you get a mortgage. You get an account with them. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do. They're not gonna just sit there like TFC and all these other big ass. Those are corporations, man. That they ain't looking at your little bitty ass money. They don't care nothing about it. You can find out even in a credit union, man. You can find out how many members is in there, and the lower the members are, the better chances you being able to be serviced even better.
Hey, I'm sorry, bro. I gotta give you a.
Put your lights up.
That shit. That's a real fucking gem right there. Like,
hey Jay, hold the section now for a quick second. I gotta grab something real quick.
I ain't. You know what's crazy? I never heard no shit like that. That information is very needed, bro.
Them credit unions, yeah, man. Them credit unions, look out. My dad, that's all. Well, he got with a credit union when he was in the service, when he was in the Navy, and he's always stayed with a credit union. Like he refused to go to like he refused to go to like a Wells Fargo or Chase Bank. He said hell no to all that. Like, I got a question I want y'all to answer that Red put in the comment section because it's been sitting here for a second. Let me see. Red said, question: do you think redlining is responsible for inequality today?
Hold on, say that again. Put that up. I missed it.
Yeah, here you go. And then I'll answer it first. My at least my opinion on it. And then let's see. The question is, do you think redlining is responsible for inequality today? I'll tell you this, Red. It plays a part in it because the number one way to get to wealth is home ownership. And when you were strictly discriminated against people, you said you didn't do it by race, but you did it by a zip code. Like you stay on 205, we not loaning to you. But you could be one street over and be on 206 and we loaning to you just because a certain group of people live there. That plays a part in it. It's not the sole reason that we have inequality, but it's a part of it. That's where people come in and say this stuff is institutionalized because now you got the banks doing their best to keep certain people in certain groups of people from getting homes. And that is the number one way that you start to build wealth in this country. Home ownership. That's why they always talk about home ownership. Because once you can get you a home, you can start building up. First off, you got something that you can put up against other things. So you need let's say you need to get some extra cash. You can take some equity out of your house and put it into your business and just keep building on that shit. So I think it played a part. Who want to go next? Rob?
Yeah, I agree. I think it play a part. I mean, I ain't got too much to say about it. Yeah.
So
JT?
So yeah, I can answer that with a yes, but watch this. What year was it where they started using credit scores?
I'll look it up.
I think it was like in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, like 73 or somewhere around that. But look it up just to double check it there.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
I can tell you right now.
Oh, go ahead, man. Delete that screen.
1989.
1989. Ooh, my birthday.
1989. So yes, equality was definitely responsible because it didn't take a credit score to get a house. This is why they started using the Fair Credit Act. That was, what is it, 89? That was 2 years before I graduated from high school. So that's still fairly new. So in the 80s, they didn't even have credit score. Wasn't no FICO score. Think about that.
For an judging you off your credit.
What did they use? You had to have collateral. And then you had to have somebody to speak on your behalf. You had to have references. You know what I'm saying? So it was very it was lopsided, no doubt about it. So when you really look at that inequality, oh man, it was at an all-time high. This is what the Fair Credit Act is all about. Absolutely.
And I can agree with that because I remember in my old community, I was trying to me and one of my relatives was going to try to see about getting a place, and they had, now this is recent, this is like a few years ago. So we were seeing about it, and I was asking to just come check the house out. They was like, "What's your credit?" I was like, "My credit by like 560 right now." Well, you need at least 620 to even come see the house. Oh no, 640. Damn. I'm like, just to see the damn house? Like, really? So that did play a factor into it. But Jay, I can just tell me to get to the comments, man. I go to the comments, man.
Oh man, I'm just clicking on man. You gotta read.
Clicking shit, John.
I'm sorry, man. Look, I'm about to stop clicking shit.
Hey, real quick.
You just pushing buttons and shit.
Back to Red Illusion. Red Illusion said that baby's a paid actor.
way behind.
No, I just did that because it was funny. I had to go back to it real quick. All right. So Red Illusion said JT is spot on. Capitalism beats racism every time. Yeah, but they kind of hide some of it in there too. Foxy Moon said, damn right. Rob, very needed. She also said, JT, yes, some city hospitals have afflictions with credit banks. Oh, affiliations. My bad. Hey man, my screen's small over here. Death Note said wealth is built through real assets, land, commercial properties, and the easiest for many, home ownership. Yep. That is definitely one. And then he also said one reason I tell my students to periodically take what is
money.
it?
Yeah.
He meant to say money. He almost said Monet. Take money out of the markets and liquidate it into real assets. All right. So I want to because actually, Jay, you went to that question already. I was gonna say that for the end.
Oh,
But
okay.
no, it's cool. It's cool. A lot of what?
You got Wally. He said correcto.
That just came in.
And then, well, you see the rest of them. Do I see him faster than you?
I think you do. Yeah, he corrected. He said money. She's saying a lot to you. Red Loser said, play the part is a little subjective. How much of today's disparity is the result of things like redlining? Most, some, or a negligible amount? What do you guys think on that question?
Most.
Okay, JT, what you think?
Most. I'm right along with it.
Rob?
What's the question? I had to grab something real quick.
Okay, Red Illusion said, play the part is a little subjective. How much of today's disparity is the result of things like redlining? Most, some, or a negligible amount?
Most.
Okay, so what do you say to that, Red?
Red, the reason we're saying most, man, dude, if you're trying to build up a family, you're trying to build wealth in this country, you're not even allowed to buy a home in the areas that, think about it, he said a guy that was selling lettuce making $3 million a year couldn't get a loan from a bank. Think about that. He got $3 million annually coming in. That's all honestly, he wouldn't even have to go through a bank, but it'd help your credit out. But he could just go buy the house if he wanted to. But most people that have money don't put all their money into something like that anyways. They'll have other people put their money into it and they'll live out like what do you think? Trump don't even own half of the shit that he really owns. Like they say he owned all them Trump towers. He don't really own that shit.
Yeah, they just use the name and he gets paid for it.
Yeah. So I'm like, rich people like to use other people's money.
I mean, that's what everybody should be able to do because money is a bio product of it's just a bio life ticket. That's it. Think about what it is. They tax that shit at least 100 times a day. $1 gets taxed at least 100 times a day. Everybody paying on that one is just debt. The dollar bill is a debt. So if you learn,
I owe you.
Yep. It's basically the more money you have, the more debt you have. You know why? Because guess who always come and get their goddamn money off of it? Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam, yeah.
Why so many people get fucked up in court? Because the government would sit back and say, and it's easy to forget how much. That's why you gotta have once you start having a bunch of money, you gotta have an accountant that you can at least trust. You know, you have to have that because you're trying to do it on your own and you have no idea on what it is that you're spending money on, like taxes, man. When I see how some of these dudes be doing taxes, that shit is you gotta love numbers. So imagine doing taxes on somebody that made $36 million a year in that 1 year, and the shit that they had to pay out. Look at all of the damn tax write-offs they probably had in that year. Look at all of the shit that they had, how many vehicles they bought and they had to pay state taxes on it. It's just a lot of shit. It don't let it be that they went from one country to the next, exchanging money. So when you're talking about money, the relationship with money, we got to start having a better relationship when it comes down to that. That's why, you know, everybody that's black should be capitalist by this time right now. We should already learned our lessons, and that should be a part of our life, is being a capitalist. And a lot of us is just not capitalists right now. And that's why we getting our ass handed to us out here in this world.
Yeah, you're right, bro. Because I mean, I told you this before. Like I really encourage people like invest in stocks, and the reason why, because one thing investing in stocks that I learned, I realized that your money should be your employee. You know, you know, you make the money, but you put your money out there to do the work that they need to be done, and that's what like your job, like our job, look at us like. Hey, they hire people and they put people out there, you know what I'm saying, that run their company in a certain way, you know, so they can keep things flowing. And I think, you know, people start looking at money as an employee, that, you know, hey, we all have the opportunity to be owners, right? But, you know, we got to start looking at our money like, hey, we own our money. So you know what? Like, hey, let's put, like you said, like, you know what I'm saying? Invest our money in the right place so it could work for us. You know what I'm saying? So we could, you know what I'm saying, build opportunities not for just us individually, but for our families, you know, our great grandkids and shit like that. So I think people start looking at their money as, you know, like the, you know, as an employee, you know, I think things could.
You wouldn't ever have the opportunity, like they didn't have the opportunities when you were talking about. You was talking about when you was reading the thing about the white flight, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I said, I grew up in that. I moved in the neighborhood. That whole thing was going on. White people was panicking. They was like, "Fuck a U-Haul. We just gonna put this shit in the back of this truck."
Niggas,
so long. For real. I just remember somebody was like, "So long, niggas." And I was about 4 years old.
Oh, that's fucked.
But what was heartbreaking, you know, as I got older, I seen what was very heartbreaking was that we kind of missed the opportunity, family wise, when it came down to it. When we're talking about 76 to about 80, where you had people in Detroit that was still the plants. They was, man, everybody worked in the plant. He was in one of the big threes. So they had money, but what was tearing up these folks was that they were so busy wanting to party. There was a liquor store everywhere, in every neighborhood in Detroit. You always had two liquor stores at least walking distance away from each other. You had about 2 churches, and then you had, fast food restaurants,
laundromats.
Yeah, and so what one of the biggest things, and then I just remember we had a lot of Arabs that bought stores all through Detroit, East Side, West Side, and they kids don't want no parts of them goddamn liquor stores. They doing hookah bars, and they gamers, or they doing everything other than owning those stores. But when they were doing it, man, they was going to some of the most roughest neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. But imagine your family saying, "We got the money up to get you a store. All we got to do now is get your visa together, and we're gonna move you over here in America. But this is the catch: it's really, really bad over here. You're gonna have to learn, who to be around and who not to be around." And one of the things that a lot of us had to deal with in America, if you lived in Detroit, was blatant racism. Am I lying, Rob?
You're not lying.
You would have black folks that would walk in these stores and they would talk to them like they ain't shit. And
like it ain't nothing, bro.
Your money.
They would get mad, bro. Literally, if say you buy your juice, right? It's like $1, and you only come in there with 90. So you just come with $1, right? And it's tax, everything. They would really get mad at the fact that they have to pay tax and call them all type of names. And
they still do shit like that.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, they still do. Be disrespectful to people like that. Whether it's Asian restaurants or those stores. Yeah, they still do that.
And this is my problem with black folks.
The heartbreaking is that we still give them our money.
Yeah.
Still
because we don't want to, but we don't want to deal with that no more. Like, it's certain places in my community where you rarely see black-owned stores. You will see maybe a barbecue spot here and there. You might see a crab spot, seafood spot, or something like that. But as far as actually owning businesses like that in different types, you don't really see it like that. You may see a couple of tire shops here and there.
Yeah, but mostly,
but you're mostly gonna see churches, liquor stores, stuff like that. Like them the main things you're gonna see in our community.
But black folks don't own the like now because they don't the Arabs don't want to deal with that shit. So now you can see black people are starting to own these stores. But let me tell you, I know in Detroit, I don't know about any other place, it was a redlining thing. It still is. Liquor license. That's the reason why.
Well, they don't play about that. They still killing the game down here in Alabama. It's hard as hell for some people to try to get a liquor license. Some folks can't even get a business license. And you're just supposed to walk in there and pay for it. Yeah. They be denying people all that down here. I be looking at dudes like, I don't know what to tell you, Fred. Get a lawyer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a form of redlining.
Yeah,
man, we got swastikas in the front of our city courthouse.
Damn,
right on the side of the building, like it's carved into the granite on the side of the building. And people walk past it every day and they don't even know it. I'll be like, they got swastikas down there. Yeah, that's for you, Red. That's for you, Red. Come down to one of the blackest cities in Alabama and you'll see swastikas on the granite.
Actually, let me get back to the chat real quick because Red said something.
Way behind.
Red said, I think it's between some and a negligible amount. Correlation, causation. Policy is nothing compared to home ownership rates during that period.
I can buy that.
Jay, you sound
read it again. Read it again one more time so I can hear it.
All right. He said, I think it's between some and a negligible amount. Correlation, causation. Policy is nothing compared to home ownership rates during that period.
All right.
Yeah.
This is what I would say to Red. You didn't do it, sir. So stop caping for these motherfuckers. Them people, I'm just being honest, man. I'm just being honest. That shit during that time, you saying home ownership was down. A lot of people didn't own homes during that time, period. There wasn't a lot of money flowing through the country as we think of now today. But with the people that did have the money, did have the collateral that could buy homes when they were stopped from buying them. Like, dude, we even see these issues right now in today's society. When a family puts their home up for sale, they have somebody come around and appraise it. We've seen these stories where we had a black family that owned a house and they thought the house, they put out over $100,000 into the house. They bought it for like $300,000. So it was like in their mind, they thinking, okay, maybe $400,000, maybe $425,000, something like that. Appraiser came through, saw all the black shit in the house and appraised their house for like a little bit over like $50,000 more than what they paid for it, not counting what they put into it. And they was like, nah, they don't seem right. So they told their white friends at work, come put up your family photos in here. Let's get another appraisal group to come in here and appraise it. The shit's worth $600,000, double what the fuck they paid for it. We see these things happening on a day-to-day basis in society right now. It plays a bigger part because first off, maybe it didn't affect as many people as you would like it to, but that practice is passed on. So now we're not keeping people from getting homes. Now we're going to undervalue their homes. A lot of banks buy up these homes when these homes are foreclosed on. That's how banks get a lot of properties. Right? I believe it paid a lot more than just some. Way more than some.
Way more than some. Since nowadays, like we talk about all the time, if you look over history, when white flight happened, black people were migrating or going to certain different communities. A lot of those communities was not kept up. Like I just read something that was talking about in Atlanta back in that time that they had to fight for the county to actually give money to the schools and things that they're supposed to give money to. So if you have a place, deteriorating, what you think is going to happen? There's certain things it's only so many times that when your air condition breaks down that you can just have a maintenance guy come and fix that bitch to get it back going. Sooner or later, you're going to have to buy another air conditioner.
Yeah.
It's a funny trick the way they play it. Because we were talking about gentrification earlier, and gentrification, it's funny the way that game plays. Okay, they built the suburbs so the people that had money, the white people that had money, could move out of the city. So now that all those people moved out, black folks were already in the city because most black folks live close to where they work. That was back in the day, and it's still the same to the day. Now with the property values dropping down, now all the white people that moved out to the suburbs, and these can be their kids, their grandkids coming back, buying the property when it's low. So now the property value goes up again, which is starting to move the black people out. It's just they just keep flip flopping this shit because eventually they're gonna get tired of living downtown again. They're gonna move back out to some suburbs. Then the black folks are gonna move back downtown when the property value's low, and then it's gonna switch again. So, like, now we gotta look at what's really going on when it comes to, like, when it came to this money in America and how certain people were discriminated against to keep us in a certain part. Because, like, I forget who said it last night. Black people were meant to be the working class people of society in America. We were supposed to be the worker ants.
Not only was we the working class people, we work for free. Shit.
Hey, that too. Hey, look, we ain't gonna get the free label. You got a little heated last night. I was talking about reparations.
You made a good point, Jay. But let me finish some more of the chat.
Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Death Note says black people need to start learning about money more than just spending it. And Wallace says, Death Note, good luck, our community. Wally, I didn't say Wallace. He said to Death Note, good luck, our community looks at money as if it grows on trees.
Technically it does.
And Foxy Moon said, true story, Death Note, they need to be doing that instead of worrying about what Kanye said recently. And Red Illusion said, liquor store, gun store, church. What the fuck you taking me? Red Illusion also says Arabs are still buying houses and raising rent today in Detroit.
They ain't the only ones.
Foxy Moon says, Wally, my mother would always say to me when I was a kid, do you think I'm made of money and money doesn't grow on trees? And she said, yes, it does. And I'm sure your mama would backhand your ass. Red Illusion also
does.
It does.
Red Illusion said because the black-owned business are usually pressured by other blacks for discounts and handouts, yet they'll pay Habib and change full price.
Hell yeah.
Hey, look, you can't look, we do have that problem in the black community, but I ain't gonna sit over because look, that is a big problem. Everybody trying to say look out for me and all this shit. But we look at these big business owners, these ones that own these big companies. Like, look, Trump don't pay full price for shit. He get a hookup.
Fuck that. See, when we on the smaller level, we talking about a man that's a billionaire.
Yeah,
all right. Well, let's put it like this, because I know what you're talking about, Jay. This is the difference of what happens, right? When you have a situation like that, and that's for anybody who started getting money or especially famous. So it's a trade-off. It's you scratch my back, I scratch your back. So if I give you this hookup, maybe on your show, Jay, you'll wear my t-shirt, shout me out or something like that. Our problem a lot of times is when we see each other, look out for a nigga, man. What you talking about, bro? Look out for me.
Niggas that ain't doing shit.
But but there's no return, there's no ROI.
Right.
I can give you a hookup, but what does that really do for me at the end of the day? Well, it'll make your conscience feel better. Really? That I gave you $1 off a 6-pack?
That's why I would say, man, as black people, where we fucked up at when it come to our businesses, stop calling it a black business.
Yeah, it's just a business.
It's a business, all right? You ain't got it. I'm just so happen to be black, all right? So all this.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk to somebody and say something of mine is black owned, but I'm not gonna put it on the damn wall when you come in there, and I'm not.
It shouldn't be the main focus of your business. Like you talked about it, they got mad when I think you covered that one. The turkey leg hut.
Yeah.
They like all them black folks got mad, especially the women got mad, and they put a dress code in.
And we talked about it. We did a show.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did. Look, we do have.
Because the stripper came there butt ass naked.
Yeah, buddy naked. Yeah, walked. No. That one girl walked in there with nothing but socks and shoes on.
That's what I'm talking about. The stripper.
With that BBL. Yeah,
she walked through there butt ass naked.
They should have locked her ass up for that.
Yeah, she should got locked up for indecent exposure.
Children and shit there.
That's what I'm saying. When you do that, when you try to do this whole, black owned or black ran or whatever, you kind of cursing yourself when when people can see that it is culturally a black spot, they still supposed to be able to show you the same respect that they would show anybody else, but they don't. When they find out that it's black people, they would do whatever they need to do to disrespect your ass. And then after disrespecting you, then they gonna want to try to get you canceled or whatever the fuck they doing in these days because you got standards. And that was the whole thing with them. Them folks was like, no, it's gonna be a fucking dress code.
Actually,
How the
hold
fuck
on,
you
real
do
quick. I want to say something. I want to say two things real quick because Foxy just said something in there. She said, I just want to know if the hair products are black owned because that's very important. Now does that matter?
It would matter in our community because I'm bad. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm just saying, period. Any store, because they do that at Walmart now.
It should matter because majority of our women spend their money on those products. Hair, like the makeup, the beauty industry. If anybody wanted to get in on a small level, a lady open up a shop, you're not going out of business as long as you got decent customer service. Because the ladies are always going to come in and buy eyelashes. They're going to come in and buy wigs, extensions.
No, but I don't think. But hold on, Jay. I don't think Foxy means
care.
that. I think what she means is because our hair is different. So
we don't own that shit. We don't own that shit.
No, I know that, but I'm saying if we go to buy a hair product, we may need something different for our hair versus what white people put in their hair sometimes.
But you know what? But they don't. It don't even matter because shit. They could just research some shit, educate themselves how to make products for our hair. At the end of the day, I feel like don't go by the person's skin. Go by just if it's good. It's a good product or not. Hell, Popeye chicken, it tastes like a black. I don't care how many commercials they got on that black woman saying a black woman on that on Popeyes. Black people don't own Popeyes, but they know what they know.
Yeah,
what
I think
people
the
like.
people. It's a corporation in
They know
Canada
the
that
flavor
owns
that
Popeyes.
black people like though. Shit,
Yeah,
they
like,
know.
man,
Hey,
she just a
cheese on that
spokesperson.
chicken, make that.
Yeah, that's it.
Skin nice and crispy.
I mean,
What
but you,
Darnell Rollins said, he said, black people wouldn't probably go to Popeyes, and she said, we have 9 herbs and spices. Please come check out our chicken. You like, no, they gotta be like, girl, you better come down here. We got that shit for $9.99.
Right.
I would say this. Look, there's a beauty supply store in everybody's city and state.
But who are
And they have products in there that are they're not owned by us. That's what I'm saying. Like the products that they have in these stores are dedicated just to black people. You don't see white folks really going up in beauty supply stores like that. Like
because they don't use the shit.
Yeah,
no.
Like
they don't use half of the shit that's in there. The shit we shouldn't be using half of the shit that's in there. You got all that shit with lye, all that damn relaxer.
Sell some 8. They sell some 8.
No, sulfur 8. Yeah.
But let me ask you guys this.
Sulfur 8 is a good thing. Sulfur 8 that's when you take
all that shit
and all that stuff. Yeah, sulfur 8 is good. Stay what is it? Stay soft fro or some shit.
Yeah, I think it's stay soft. Yeah, stay soft.
Yeah.
But let me ask you guys this. Let me put this out here.
Hey, Foxy Moon want to come up.
I'm dropping the link.
My girl want to come up, man.
I'm about to drop the link now. But I want to ask y'all guys something real quick. Do y'all have a problem if you see that it says a restaurant says authentic Asian cuisine or authentic Italian cuisine, authentic Brooklyn pizza, Chicago pizza?
No,
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
I would have a problem if they was in Italy and they say Italian restaurant. That makes
that'd be like, come on now.
You in China and you got a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Come on down to King Kong Chinese restaurant. Look at all these big Chinese restaurants.
So why would it matter? So why would it matter if it says black owned?
Well, that's the
it's
problem.
A curse. It's not the fact that it's just saying black owned. It is something that we overused. And it curses us when it's coming down to dealing with our own people.
Yes,
that's just what it is. We've really cursed ourselves with saying that. It's just like I tell you what, it'll be a problem if they had white owned. It'll be a problem if they said this is a white owned dealership. If it's a white owned, so it would be a problem with that.
Yeah, they wouldn't say that shit. That'd be weird. They were like, yeah, this is a white-owned car dealership.
It's a white-owned business.
And the difference also is you ain't gonna have no Asian person, Indian person begging for no goddamn support because they got their skin in their color.
Go. That's the good one. That's the one I was looking for. That's the biggest one. Makes sense. Real quick, we got the homegirl Foxy Moon up in the building. What's good, Foxy?
Salute. Thank you. Salute to the panel, Jay, JT, Rob. Salute. And salute to your audience as well. So that question in regards to the beauty products or mainly like hair products is because like my texture hair would be considered like a white woman's hair texture. It's very straight. It gets curly when it gets wet, but it's not like the 4C. And my daughters have more of what you would call melanated, you know what I'm saying? The texture, the curls, really thickly. And so I couldn't buy like an herbal essence for them. I would have to get something that's specifically, geared towards Black women's hair because that's their texture hair. Okay. So for that, I would want to go to a person, of color, especially Black women that, cater to that because their hair texture is similar. But anything else, I mean, it's great if you do support Black-owned businesses, but it's getting too propaganda-ish. It's just money has no color when you're doing business with people. But for smaller things, yeah, I would like to go to a Black-owned.
Well, so
but that's the thing.
Like, there used to be this one place in my city that was Black-owned when it came to like beauty supplies, and sadly enough, this person maybe lasted 1 year because people wasn't shopping there. Black people wasn't supporting it like that. And this is the thing I've heard. I don't know if you ever heard this, Foxy, but I've heard Black women that try to get into the beauty supply industry saying that since they're Black and they're not part of the Asian community or the Arab community, they can't get stuff as cheap. So they had to charge a lot more. And because of that, people didn't F with the business. Have you ever heard of any of those types of stories? Like, you can look them up, but have you ever heard of that or known anybody personally that went through that? I mean, consider
I don't know anybody personally. I kind of heard a little something about that, where it's very limited, or almost, as you would say, blackballed or blacklisted for women of color, or Black women, to get into the market like the way the Asians and the white people do. So, which is unfair because, at one point you had Madam C.J. Walker, who was, this big conglomerate of that and making all kind of money. And now we're back down to like being, kind of pushed aside, and having to pay more because we're being, ostracized. But, I think that's always going to be an issue. I think and that's why it's great that there are some, especially the mom and pop Black-owned businesses. Like, I don't really care if somebody's putting it into Target because that's a bigger, corporation. But if it's a small little mom and pop online or in the neighborhood, we should definitely be catering to them. We should be, giving them our business. And if their quality is legit, like, we should definitely be giving, our money to them. So it's unfortunate that people don't, we talk about that. It's like people are two-faced when it comes to that. Cause it's like, yeah, support Black-owned business, but you're still walking around with Nikes on, you know what I'm saying? Or you're still buying the Prada bag instead of these people who are actually, very talented and making it from scratch, out of their time and their hands. You don't want to do that, or you're going to ask for a discount because it's a Black person.
I think if more Black people like when they own businesses, because I don't want to sit here and act like I don't support like Black people, because I support a lot of Black people that have businesses, because I just generally just want to see people win, right? But I really feel like, for Black people, like, really, instead of like taking it personal when somebody don't support you, or you feel like your numbers ain't there like you think it should be, I feel like, man, just continue like to take notes on everything what's going on. Like I said this before in our show before, like, and people ask me about YouTube and shit, like, you gotta look at this shit as practice. Like, when you start out something, like, have the mindset when you start out something, it's all practice. Because we trying to practice to get to the point where we could become a true professional, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when we start things, we think that, just because we got an LLC or we own something that we know people should just support us, and I'm putting this hard work on this product. No, like, you have to understand, like, this all practice. Like, you got to really learn why you go and understand like the ins and out of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And understand, first of all, it's going to help you understand, you know, are you strong enough for this shit? Because this shit ain't for the weak. So I think the reason why it's a problem when we say black on business, because too many damn black people too damn vocal about people not supporting them. And you know, if they just take a seat back and just look at this shit as a bird view, you know, think more logic of this shit.
I think what becomes another issue, like if you look at somebody like Master P or Dame Dash, right? They're proud to promote their products, and they make good products. But the problem is, I hear somebody disrespect their stuff, like especially Master P. He came out with noodles, came out with ice cream, he came like pancakes. And I'm hearing black people like, oh, nah, I don't want to eat that shit. And it's like, but you never even gave it a chance. But you mean to tell me your family came up 4 generations of fucking Jiffy Mix, making them cheap ass pancakes that was supposed to be cornbread. But you'll do that, but you'll have a problem actually giving a brother a chance. And I think that's another thing that.
I mean, don't be shitting on Jiffy, bro. Jiffy tastes good. That's amazing. I love Jiffy.
Anyway,
or they'll use the anti-lime syrup.
Oh, they use the so we'll do.
Oh, they don't call it that no more. We can't say that name.
But
they ended that. Yeah, they ended that.
But this is what I respect about Master P. Instead of him complaining about fussing about that shit, what he continue to do, he continue to drop more product.
Yeah, but but that's what I'm saying. He still
drop more
voices
product.
his opinion though. But that's what I'm saying. But listen to what I'm saying. I think on both sides we gotta realize that when we say we all blackity black, but we don't support nothing unless it's cool shit. If it's a liquor store, we'll support if you got rims, we'll support. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things we support.
Black y'all, and I'm black y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black y'all, and I'm black y'all, and I'm black y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black y'all.
I wish I could have put him up. Yeah, there you go. That sorry ass dance. He can't dance. So, but they'll say all this shit, but not looking at on both sides. It's like, okay, do we support or do we not? Like education and things of that nature, do we support when we're having those type of things? And I know it's like when I used to work for my mentor, we had a program where we could teach you how to make jewelry, teach you how to get in. We can help you get into a STEM program they had. All this stuff starting at like 13, right? And a lot of the parents didn't give a damn. They didn't even care. And it's like, damn, so we got to coerce each other into supporting each other because you have certain black people, and no disrespect, this is the difference between black people and niggas. So you have some niggas who will not support and talk shit, but they'll support bullshit.
Absolutely.
Instead of supporting each other, like what Def Note said earlier, we got to learn the difference between like the education of having money besides just thinking that it's just for spending. And I think that's where we fall into a trap as well. We got to fight that mentality.
That's where Master P had mastered the shit, because one of the things that he tells a lot of these folks, see, there's a lot of these young dudes that still listen to him. What's Brandy little brother? Ray J?
Yeah.
Ray J.
Protege. He was Master P's protege, and Master P, he makes money off of everything, whatever he can think of. That's why when you were just saying it, cereal, pancakes, chips. Matter of fact, look how many people got those rap chips because of Master P.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I thought he owned those rap snacks.
And they fire.
Rap snacks. Then look at all of the things that he also had invented. This is why when he did No Limit, he said, I have to change my image. He said I was wrong, and he had the audacity to say I was wrong at what I did when it came down to that. That's why he tried to clean up the image of what No Limit was about. And his whole thing is about giving back to the people. So whenever time you get a chance to talk to somebody like him, because this is a money man, and it's funny how people don't even understand these type of dudes. He don't come around, he ain't talking about rapping and getting a label or nothing. He talk about making money. Whatever it is that you ever want to do, you can actually do it. But you got to start from here. Like, man, when I seen the stuff that he had, this dude got socks. he got everything. That oodles and noodles thing. And a lot of people said that shit is good. Now, I don't eat this shit, but
yeah, just give it a chance. Yeah, I mean, if we eating ramen noodles, whatever you call this shit, ramen, ramen. Everybody loves ramen. If you willing to try all that other shit, you should be able to try something that a brother or sister has made and has done. And I think that's the mentality that we deal with when it comes to us. And my whole thing is, I may talk about certain things with women, but I'm gonna talk about certain things with men as well. And we got some people that go too far on one side, and it's like, no, we gotta do our best to balance it a little bit.
And not me.
Better, so people can actually hear what's being said, because it's issues.
Exactly.
Trump said it's good. Trump said it's good people on both sides. Well, guess it's bad people on both sides.
You know what get me, man? We got an issue in our community where, and we've all seen it.
But is it our community, Jay? Like, and that's the other thing. Like, we gotta
in our community
use our semantics to change things around, because it's like we gotta know the etymology of these words, because we're like, oh, we're the community, and it's like, nah, I'm in the hood, and we don't have a community.
Well,
and guess what them hood came from white folks.
Look, I'm just gonna say this: black folks.
All right, I'm just asking a question, but I'm being facetious.
No, you good, girl. I'm just saying this: like, we do have a problem, and I know all of us have seen this shit. When somebody's doing something, when somebody's doing something. Let's go. Let's say, JT, you decide you want to build a manufacturing business, and you're gonna sell straws, something that's used every damn day, hundreds of thousands of millions of times. You know you're going to have them group of people that can come out, fuck you selling straws for. We have a problem in our community where people are doing something and they're trying to get to something. And we have those people that come in that are negative towards whatever it is. You always got those people that you'll never do that. And then on top of that, it's like, why are you even doing it? Like, I started a toothpick business. And people look at me like I'm crazy. Why you going to sell toothpicks? Motherfucker, do you know how many people buy toothpicks every day? You know how many companies and businesses have to have hundreds of thousands of those on standby just because? Like, dude, you can make bread off of that shit. But a lot of black folks, we always try to make fun and look down on somebody when they're doing something, when they're trying to do something progressive. Like, we made fun of the kid that always read books. We made fun of the kid that got good grades in school. We made fun of the kid that don't hang out with the popular kids and doing all the fuck shit. Oh, you're square. You're lame. We got a problem in our community. Like, I ain't saying other communities do it, but if we're talking about ours, we have a problem that we need to address over here. Because we got a lot of black people that are out here trying to do stuff and do stuff, but we always had those people in the back talking about, man, this man a turn it, he don't win white or some shit. Nah, the motherfuckers, he got his money, he's gonna maintain his money, and his kids, his grandkids, his great grandkids are gonna benefit from that. So while you sitting on the side with your broke ass talking shit about how he moving, how about you learn how to move like he can? And then you can be in his position and let's see what you do with it. But I digress. I'm sorry.
Yeah, bro. Because I've been through I've been through this situation before. You know, a few years ago, I told JT about the story. And like, I showed him all the pictures and promotion that I had when I had my clothing line. I had a clothing line like it's crazy me to say back in the day, but it was in like 2011, 2012. But yeah, you know, I just saw, you know, people. I learned a lot being a, like, you know, saying quote unquote black business. You know, everything JBJ was saying, you know, it happened to me. You know, people will fucking question about, oh, what type of material is this? Well, why are you charging this much? Like, is this some good material? Like, come on, man. Like, have some fucking common sense. I'm just starting out. Either you gonna fuck with it or you're not. You know,
you sound like old boy on
that's why I tell people. You know what I tell new entrepreneurs? Like.
Oh, hey, black people don't care about no material.
But they won't question
black folks.
They won't question going into Neiman Marcus's or Bloomingdale's and say, "Oh, is this material any good?" They're gonna pay $400 for a pair of jeans.
Yep.
And not question.
And this is why not asking one question.
This is why I say this, bro. You know, the old saying, "Oh, the customer knows best." I think that's bullshit.
It's always been bullshit. It's always been bullshit.
No, it don't. Fuck out of here.
The customer's always right now. The customer can be stupid. They didn't tell me they didn't want lettuce.
Right.
Like, for real. Like, I tell people, like, hey, it's important to have good customer service, but goddamn it, if a customer give you always match. I feel like you should always match the customer energy. A customer gonna be an asshole. Hey, fuck it. Be a fucking asshole. Let them know.
Don't do that. Don't listen to Rob, y'all. Don't listen.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Because Rob, you telling us
don't
to
wanna-
start acting like a nigga because a nigga being around acting ignorant.
No, it ain't about
don't
being a
do
nigga.
that.
It's being stern with the shit. White folks do it. They stern with their shit.
In what way?
Don't
Like, give me
allow
an example of
people
how
to-
you would do it. So say I
Don't-
come to
but-
you.
but
Hold
don't
on,
allow
Rob.
people
Hold on,
to-
Rob. Let me say I come
Right,
to you.
wait
as
a
a
minute, that
customer.
shit. He's like, I want that. Fuck them.
I want to see how you go. I want to see how would you respond. I come up like, yeah, man. I see your shirts, man. What kind of material that is, Rob? What you gonna say?
Hey, bro, it's the material that I have. I'm not.
Then I'll be like,
It's not. No, bro, because you didn't gonna
no,
fuck
but
with
hold
it.
on, Rob. That's what I'm talking about. Off the rip. I didn't even say, nigga, what that is.
But,
I
but
just
no,
said-
but in the back, but bro, you gotta understand. The back of my mind, you wouldn't ask that to nobody else. You trying to fuck with me? You trying to fuck with my? You trying to? It's like you ain't gonna give me no fucking pop quiz, nigga. You wanted or not, nigga? I put in the work to fucking put this label on my shirt. You didn't gonna fuck with it or not.
So Rob,
Fuck on.
hold on, brother. Calm down. Woosah for a second.
No, I'm not yelling at you, bro. I'm just
No, I know
saying.
you're not. I know you're not. But you just went to a place in your mind somewhere.
Okay.
Word, you
Okay.
respected him.
Okay.
The others he was talking to, he would have whooped their ass again.
Nigga, what you asking me, nigga?
Nigga, Kai, you know your granddaddy.
Come back, Rob. Come back to the light. Come back.
All right,
Either you
Rob,
gonna
all
pay
I'm
for it
saying
or
is,
not, nigga. You fucks with me or not.
listen.
Look at what Red said. Look at what Red said.
Hold on, let me put it up. Red said, Kai, bitch, you buying it now?
But that's, come on, man. You know that the niggas trying to fuck with you. I know I've been around too many niggas, bro. Niggas when niggas just fucking with me, bro. They trying
Hey,
to just.
I wish I'm gonna put that shit on here, Jay. I wish I had that part where Kevin Hart was
clipping
going
this.
at your boy on
Clipping this shit right here, bro.
40-year-old version. Where he was like, stop being a nigga and stop being a Negro and be my nigga.
Yeah.
You were looking for a
Like,
nigga?
come on, man.
Nigga here now.
Nigga here now. Nigga here
But
now.
listen, Rob, but real quick, listen, you have to be careful about that, bro, because that's where we have a problem. On our other side is customer service. Even if somebody comes being an asshole, you still do your best to be respectable. Now, if you check them, like Too Short said in that song, The Ghetto, be intelligent when you put them in check. So even when you do that, you still listen. You know, this is such and such. You give them that breakdown. And I think a lot of us don't do that. We just look at each other as soon as we come around, we ready to snap. And then that goes against us as well. So I get your frustration. Trust me, I done been there before. But at the same time, we have to learn that patience and grace on our side when it comes to doing business. Feel me?
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Said, I want a lot of people to have this mindset. 'Cause this is the mindset when I go to work. And these people look at me funny every day when I go to work.
Because you got
We all know
on.
we're like, okay, that too. I ain't gonna lie though, I do wear this tank top in the summertime at work, man. I wear whatever the hell I want at work. But hey, I had all the old ladies in there trying to get my ass. But one thing is everybody know they go into work at a certain time and they get off at a certain time. So why does it matter what the hell you're doing while you're there? Like, I can understand if you are 200 feet in the air working with electrical wires and stuff, or you out here digging ditches all day. I understand you might have a problem with your job, but a lot of people don't work in like that. Like, I see people at fast food restaurants that got a problem where they come through the drive-thru, order a burger. They'll bring the burger back. I worked at a restaurant called Jack's down here in Alabama. I used to see people on the line that would get mad to have to remake a burger. And I'm like, boo, you've been here for 2 hours. You ain't leaving for another 5. You are here I tell people all the time, I'm here till 5, bro. What you need me to do while I'm here? Because I'm going to do what I got to do, because I always know I'm working towards a raise. I'm working towards a promotion. But then, what else I'm going to fucking do? I know more people that spending more energy not trying to work when they're at work. And we got a problem. We got a lot of people in our community like that. That was going back towards you, Rob. Like, we got a lot of people in our community that have a problem doing their job while they're at fucking work. Yeah. Like, you selling something, you there selling it, man. Like, fuck, they ask that fucking question. Okay, I don't give a fuck if you're looking at me funny. I'm trying to make a sale. And that's where a lot of people, like, especially a lot of these Asian people and these Arabs that come into our communities, they know motherfuckers be talking shit about them because they be talking shit about us. But at the end of the day, they sit there and they deal with it to get their money, because at the end of the day, the money is what matters. Fuck what you saying about me. You can talk shit about me till the day I die, but watch me stack this bread up and shit on your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finesse you out of your money.
So
I agree.
I have it's kind of a question, but it's just to add on to what you were talking about in regards to the redlining.
Okay.
It's almost sad to say, and I had mentioned it in the chat that I don't even want to be in the hood around my own when they're acting up. So but I feel even in any other kind of community, there's going to be crime or some deviant activities. It's just not really publicized the way it is when they come into the hood. Do you believe that is systematic? Like that's that? I mean, it shows us that that's the plan, but do you believe?
As far as what do you mean for us?
As far as like
what we do?
Like with the redlining and segregating us, like what would be the cause for everybody then to start acting out?
So earlier we were speaking about that. We were speaking. My stance is that it's definitely more. It is more of class than it is race. Even though race still exists, racism is never going to go away. It's just not as prevalent as classism right now. Because right now, it's actually, when you really think about it, is who can I get more money, out of? So that's basically what it is. What's more productive? And because you do have this whole thing of what's the biggest thing that they dealing with right now other than fear? They're making a lot of money off of us being scared. A shitload of money off of all of us. They don't give a fuck what color you is right now.
Well, I don't know, JT. I would have to say to Fox's question basically is, I think, all right, I'll put it to you like this. The biggest problem that we as black people had back in the days, mostly with black exploitation movies, is because they was making an image that wasn't necessarily true. Just like even if you go back to the original Birth of a Nation back in 1920, when they had black faces in there and there was white people playing those people,
right,
they made it seem like black people were so savage. So I think what happened was certain black people adopted that mindset of what they were showing in those black exploitation movies. And
But when you look at it, what you was just saying, it was based off of the fear of white folks. They didn't just do it by saying that black people were just bad. Nobody. They had a real reason to be like, hey man, these motherfuckers, at one day, these motherfuckers gonna turn on us. Think about it. We had these motherfuckers slaves.
But listen. Let me expound on it real quick. So what I'm saying is, for the ones that adapted that mindset and then it became a lower class tradition for certain black folks or Negroes, if you want to go that far.
Right.
And I think nowadays, and I think this can go a little bit of what JT is saying, since certain things are able to be capitalized off. Like when you look at hip hop when it started was positive. Then white folks got into it. But once gangster rap came out, they seen that made more money, because if you look at the West Coast rappers was making more money selling more records, especially underground out the trunk, than East Coast rappers were. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where you have certain people that capitalize off of it, and then you have the undertone of people that actually believe in it, whether you're black in the hood or you're white living in a trailer park. So I think certain people act out. Some people think it's okay to express themselves ignorantly in that way, and it might feel good to them for the time being. That's why you have so many people that don't think long term, for a lot of people in our community. Now, if when we look at the numbers, when it says, like when you look at, last time I looked at crime rate a couple of years ago, and I think I did a show on this. So when you look at overall the amount of white people that's in prison, it was around like 7 point something million. Black people was 2.5 million or somewhere around that. Yes. But then I looked up something else within the FBI, what they were saying, 75% of people who go to prison or jail or whatever are 3 times more likely to go back versus 25% of people. So it makes you beg to differ when you actually start breaking down numbers and statistics of what's going on. It's something so internal that it's not going to just change overnight. And that's why I always say the best thing to do is build with the people that are trying to build, networking with the people that want to network with you, because I mean, how else are you going to get out of your situation? I know economically, a lot of us are stuck in these situations, but we have to start, like Def No said earlier, realizing what money is really for. And like JT said, it's basically an IOU, and you use it to build.
Right.
So until we start being smarter on how we do it, and some people got to see it. Some people, I mean, you got black people that hate on Master P. You got other black people that salute him like a general.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I think he's now if I was going to call anybody a genius, it would be him. And I appreciated his interview on the Drink Champs because he was dropping so much jewels, gems, knowledge on that interview. It was awesome. And it gave me a newfound respect for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also Dame Dash is another person, but his problem is his ego. Like,
yeah.
You gotta dial it back a few notches because
God is the devil.
Yeah, for real. Because Dame is brilliant too. He just too egotistical. Like he take the Harlem shit a little too to heart too much. I like the thing I respect what he said, which may not be smart in hindsight, unless you winning. Is he like, I know I can't just beat up none of these executives in their office because they disrespect me business wise. So I would make fun of them. I would laugh to keep from whooping their ass. But now that you out there kind of by yourself, it's like I see people that rock with him, but he'll do certain things and then kind of mess up their relationship as well. So it's like, was it really Jay-Z or was it you?
Man, a lot of that
it was definitely when you look at people like that, Dame Dash is one of those guys that most of these dudes, man, most of these guys, they have weirdo tendencies. I ain't gonna even lie to you. They're very narcissistic. They're very what they call it charismatic, but they're still good people. It doesn't take away from them being good people. They just got certain hangups. And one of the biggest things about dudes that have the type of money that these dudes be having is that you have to have a certain level of narcissism. You know, some of the shit that they do, man, some of the chances they take, the average person won't take them. You know what I'm saying? You gotta actually, on some of the moves that they make, man, you gotta be a gambling man.
Right.
And you gotta really be doing a lot of leaping and jumping off of some shit that you like. You just gotta have the courage to do it. That's why a lot of people they can't maintain having money because they don't actually work their money like that. These guys work the shit out their money, bro. Dame Dash, like he was saying, he was like, I never keep my money in the bank. I never keep my money in the bank. I never have. He said, I always take my money and put it to work.
Yeah,
that's one way of doing it.
A lot of rich people.
I mean, these guys, it's like 1 minute he may only have $2 million in the bank. Tomorrow he gonna have $45 million in the bank. The next day he gonna have $7 million in the bank. The next day he gonna have $100 and something million in the bank. They work this money and they have a relationship with money, man, that the average person just don't have. This is why it's not a lot of them.
Right.
That's all. Certain things to get the money that they kind of have, because you can't have money and then you think it's over with. No, you got to work your money. You would deplete the shit out that money.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of banks are doing. Shit, your money ain't just sitting in no bank. The bank's spending your money anyway, so you might as well, just, you know what I'm saying, invest your money, you know what I'm saying, so you could, you know what I'm saying, make more money.
That's why a lot of people don't. I guarantee you, if you ask the average person that put their money in the bank, do they realize the reason why the bank would give you interest on your money, depending on what account you got it in, is because they're using your money and flipping it to make
they
their
loan it out. That's why I was telling you about big banks, that they're not good ideals. That's why you have to have a credit union is a way better ideal, because at least you know you can borrow against your own money. That's why it's not as hard at a credit union to get a mortgage or refinance a car or even get a loan for a car when you belong to that credit union, because guess what you just did? You just gave them in-house credit. They already know how you, especially when they can look at your activity on your account and see, oh, he always has a minimum of $2,000 in his savings account. You know, I can see that he pays his bills with his checking account. Okay, we can get you you want to start out with a credit card, and then after the credit card, we can get you at a certain point where you can get a personal loan with a 5% interest rate, and you won't have to pay it back until 6 months or a year after you borrow it. It'd be shit like that. It's kind of like they know your ass. But when you got big corporation banks, they don't give a fuck about you. A little $2,000, they don't give a fuck about that little $2,000. When they should, because they're borrowing. This is why you put your money in the bank. But if you just putting your money in the bank and just letting it sit in the bank, you letting them use your goddamn money instead of you getting the benefits that you should be getting off of them using your money to loan it out to people.
Yeah.
I think that I see that's why I try to get different subjects to talk about, especially something like this, since we talk about it all the time. Jay, when you did the only time you did a review of the Monahan report is with Synthetic G, right?
Yeah.
We probably need to actually go over that report one day. Like
that dusty ass bitch.
We did it. We went over it like 3 times.
No, I'm saying without her being in it.
Oh, just reading it. Yeah, he go. That's actually up your alley right there, man. Yeah, definitely do that. I'll be here for it.
Yeah. You definitely need to be here for it, man. Because I was here for all that Synthetic G shit, man.
Hey, look, I was just here to make fun of her, man. She didn't understand. Like, he go. This was a segment in there where she was reading the Monahan report, and she pointed back to like the 1960s or something, and it said 1 out of 4 black households where both parents were in the house and both parents worked, the woman was a breadwinner. So in her mind, and the girl that she had on the panel with her, think about this again. Out of 1 out of 4 black households where both parents were present and they both worked, a woman was a breadwinner. She thought that the women were the breadwinner in the majority of the family.
Yeah, that they would have.
No.
I'm talking about she read it like 5 times.
Yeah, she thought
Really, it still
3
didn't
out of
understand what she was
4.
reading.
Yeah, she thought 3 out of 4 was the women, not the men.
She kept reading it. I'm like, this.
That doesn't even sound accurate though, because I mean, I'm thinking back, and it might be 1 out of 4, but that's if it's like, you know, a black family moving into a predominantly white neighborhood, then that I could see that number. But I'm like, most of the families were 2-parent households, and the husband was the breadwinner.
What time frame was this?
It was something around, yeah, it's like, what was it, like 62, 63, some shit like that when they wrote the Monahan report. Look, the lady just didn't get the graphic. Men have always been the breadwinners, and that's not a knock at women, because there are women that look, Oprah done made a shit ton of money more than everybody on this fucking panel right here. She's a woman. Ain't nobody shitting on women making money.
3/4
she's making more than the white man.
Yeah. So I'm like, she pushes a narrative that black men had never done anything. They don't have anything. And I always have to push back on that, because I literally had a lady come in my comment section talking about, y'all ain't never had nothing. You ain't gonna never be nothing. And that's why we leaving y'all asses in the dust. And I was like, bye, bitch. Like,
right.
You don't know.
We had the same type on our show that said that she still don't forgive black
men
for slavery. Yeah. I was like, what the hell?
That's how I met y'all, man.
The man for slavery.
That's how I met them, man. That was the first video I did on them, man. That shit was funny as hell. I was like, you ain't forgiving us for what? Like, bitch, we ain't want to do that shit.
Right. It's just never been. This is the thing, man. It's just funny when people try to put it as this whole thing where men versus women versus men versus women. No, it's just right now it's messed up because men and women are not even trying to get along. And I'm not talking about the older ones. Think about this: in the 70s, and you had the 20-year-olds, right? The 25 and 28, 30-year-olds in the 70s. They're in their 70s and 60s now. They ain't trying to argue no shit like that. They were going through it. Like when my parents be talking about it, a lot of times they don't remember that shit. They be like, man, I was in it. I don't know everything that was going on at the time. It's way easier for us to be able to read on it than it was for them to go through it, because you got propaganda and all kind of shit. They had to go through all that shit. They out here trying to maintain a job. They trying to get married. My parents, they were married at 18. They've been married ever since. They both of them 71 years old. They still married to this day, 53 years. So they were teenagers when they got married, and I asked them a whole lot. They can't remember none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They don't remember half of the stuff, and they like, man, when I started talking about the stuff that I read about, they be like, yeah, I remember that. That's about as far as they go.
Yeah, and you know what? Another thing that's so crazy about that stupid mess is a lot of us don't realize how privileged we are nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have way more options and choices nowadays than our parents, grandparents, and great-great-grandparents. And we're choosing to sit around and argue about who fault is what. You don't have to.
Yes.
You don't have to deal with it. You don't. If she don't want to deal with black man, that's fine. You don't have to. If a black man don't want to deal with a black woman, that's fine. You don't have to. You have all types of choices. But my problem is always been with the extremists of, oh, this is because of this and all that, and all you doing is pointing damn fingers. Are you even holding yourself accountable? And if you are in a great marriage with somebody who's outside the race, why are you still worried about us? Keep it moving. That's the stuff I never got. You can see somebody married outside their race, like divestors or something like that, and they still talking shit, making videos and everything. I'm happy I got my white man. Then why are you worried about black men?
Exactly.
Why are you even right? Why are you even talking about black men if it's that doggone glorious? Why are you even talking about relationships? You got your relationship. You should be good now.
You should be good, and that's what I see.
Steady.
Most of the people in a relation, interrelate, whatever you call it, those people don't care. They live in their life. Not majority of people. That's a minority. The majority of people that are in, interrelational relationships or whatever, interracial relationships, they're not necessarily worried about the community that they used to be in. That's what I see every day.
Yep, that's the last thing they want to talk about.
Yeah, because they might have to deal with some racist family members for one thing.
Yeah,
they like, oh man, we got to go over there Thanksgiving to your uncle Tyrone house. You know he don't like me.
Right.
They worry about shit like that.
Yeah, it's yeah. You got uncles and aunties that just don't, and this is what's crazy. You got people, it don't even have to do with just the race. It has to do with sometimes just the person's lifestyle.
Right.
You get a family member they don't like a dude because he works at a goddamn restaurant. You should be better than that. You don't have to marry that man because, and they would actually tell their loved ones that they're making a mistake. Let alone somebody that's interracial and all this. My whole thing is this, man. Everybody been mixing it up for a very long time. You got a bunch of beige people now. It is what it is. What we talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I choose to stay black. I choose to stay black. I ain't got time to worry about what's going on over there at your household. I'm worried about my
black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
I should have never put that damn thing in there. I should have never put that in there.
Right on point, man. You was killing me with that shit the other night.
Oh yeah, I was fucking with you on that one. But I mean, but that's the truth, man. We worry about the wrong things, and it's not really helping none of us. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, me being mad at you, you being mad at me, man. It's, to me, at the end of the day, it's good versus evil. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, good versus evil. I agree with that. Absolutely.
This is
all it is.
No, I was gonna say, so like us knowing that, right? Like everything you was talking about, like, do you feel like how y'all feel about us? We talked about this last night a little bit in the back page, but how you feel about us more so trying to focus on children of, when it comes to vetting children, right? Or, do you think, us as a people, we need to really, that should be really our main focus? Because, the reason why I keep mentioning this up, because I really, really think that that's the focus right there. If you're talking about as a whole, when it comes to black folk.
I mean, yeah, because when you look at the things that change, it's going through the youth. I just seen something today on my YouTube feed in the shorts. It was this young girl, she be interviewing stars, and she had Meg Thee Stallion on her. And that shit broke my heart and pissed me off at the same time. Like, why is this hoe getting interviewed by this young girl?
I see. I know who you're talking about. The little girl. She's from Brooklyn.
Yes, I love her. I love her. She's dope.
And it's like, what do they have to look up to Meg for? Now, what I like is what she asked her though was about education, but it still bothered me because I'm like, these little girls is looking at these hoes,
and she's a liar.
Yeah, so it's like that's not a good thing, you know what I'm saying? Because when you see the kids, whether it's her or if it's a young dude looking up to Lil Durk or somebody like that, it's like, I'm glad y'all doing business, y'all getting money, helping your family, and able to help your community out. That's great. But when you have a situation like somebody, let's say for example, once again, Lil Durk, look at all these murders that's been around him, all these deaths. So now we see what our young brothers and sisters doing the same things, like they implementing street shit into the music industry. And that's why I say I get annoyed when people say hip hop. That's not hip hop, that's rap. Hip hop is about life. Rap is about degradation and buffoonery, coonery, all that type of shit. They don't care. They don't have no real standards when it comes to them being rappers. So I get peeved when I hear them say hip hop. That's not hip hop. There needs to be a separation again. Like the streets didn't play that with hip hop. Like they might moonlight with them at the club when they balling out and stuff like that. But it wasn't like, let me get into the business with you and then I'm gonna keep extorting you and all. No, that stuff was frowned upon. But nowadays it's supposed to be okay. So when it comes to our youth, that's the one thing I do agree with Charleston White on. So when he said F certain people, I get it. Trust me, I get it, because back in the days, if you was a real G, you understood what comes with it. You got to sit down if the police catch you. It was not no, oh, I'm gonna snitch on Rob and JT. You know what I'm saying? At What We Know podcast, they over there, they got keys in the back. Matter of fact, JT, that ain't even a real microphone he got right there. That's a pistol. Like,
right.
They do that, then they want to put it all in the music. Kodak Black. How you go somewhere Jeff Bezos is there and get shot? Come on, like, you get what I'm saying? You run a billionaire and you get shot there. Not in the hood, because from what his older cousin say that he used to manage him when he first made it, he was like, if you notice, he wasn't never getting in trouble. Now that he fired me, he always getting in damn trouble. And he didn't really have no police record like that for real. So it's art imitating life. So I used to work with the youth for years, and I think that's where it's at. But the problem is the biggest gatekeeper that's fucking up our kids is these grown ass kid adults who keep having kids.
Yeah,
that's going to be the biggest struggle.
So that's why,
dealt with it for years.
Rob, you know, I always ask. I be like, when you say it's about the kids, in what way? Because the ones that supposed to be having that attitude would be the ones that actually are having them. And when they're just having them with no discernment, then they're leaving a bunch of bastards out here for the rest of the world to deal with. So how do we do that? How do we deal with that shit?
I mean, I feel like that's how I look at it. You mentioned something about Tupac earlier. We ain't gotta, honestly, we don't even have to worry about that shit. We just have to continue to plant the seed, you know?
I'm asking how, this is what I mean. Right now, the average age for a murderer here in Detroit is anywhere from 14 to 17 to 19. The murderer.
Yeah.
What, we supposed to care about him? We just had one where a 14-year-old just killed his girlfriend. Remember that one?
Yeah.
We had another one where the 14-year-old shot some older teen. We had a 16-year-old that just beat his girlfriend to death. Ain't they kids?
But the question is that the majority of kids? I'm not saying that we have to. It's a thing, right? Like, I'm not trying to say that we need to save kids or nothing like that. But I feel like instead of, like, when I hear certain conversation with Black folks, like when they trying to come up with these answers or solutions or whatnot, it's like, well, damn, like, are we trying to create change off just based on the moment? Or are we trying to thinking of like 10, 20, 30 years from now where we might not witness this shit. And when me growing up, looking at guys like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, I got that type of energy from them. So instead of us trying to figure out like what we need to do, because what we as grown ass folks, grown ass people like we are now, it is what it is right now. So the stuff that we know now, that we know that we need to get better at, we need to start vetting the children that way. Now it could either be your children, it could be a nephew, cousin, or hell, just be on your shit, because kids look up to people all the time that's successful.
No, they look at to motherfuckers that appear to be successful, and one of the biggest problems.
But you have the opportunity to do that though.
Like, no, listen to what I'm saying. The biggest obstacle for you as a stranger to get to a child would be their parents. It'd be their parents, and then the second obstacle would be whoever the influence is. It's rap music and horror and nigga shit. You can't catch a lost kid. You can't, not unless it's yours.
But I'll give you
not unless it's yours. You can do it to yours. But when you got people having children with no discernment, man, we talk about a gang of these motherfuckers that's out here. How do you do it? How do we do it at what we just gonna just say, forget it, I'm gonna neglect the goddamn kids I got. And now we got a problem where you got most men can't even be around their own fucking kids. They gotta fight to be around their own fucking kids. What you think the last thing they want to do is be around somebody else's fucking kids when they can't even be around their own goddamn kids?
Well, let me say this, JT, because I get where Rob coming from. So I think what we have to be careful about is trying to save the world, right? But within your own proximity, you can do work. So if it's a situation, and I trust, man, JT, trust me, I done been there with my personal situation, but that didn't stop me from wanting to help the youth. I've always been this way. And I think the issue becomes when we start trying to say we're going to throw cast this big net out here and try to get all the fish versus we want to reach the fish that want to be reached. Because you have situations where there's young men that were in our program that was effing up bad. Yeah. But I go around the city now, man, they productive like a mug. I'm like, damn, you got a job? You actually about to graduate and you staying out of trouble? But it was like we planted seeds in a lot of these kids. Because I've seen so many young brothers get killed on these streets. I mean, like even when I stopped for a little minute mentoring, and I used to have my own little studio at my crib, I used to have young brothers come through there a lot of time. Man, bro, it was like a gang of young dudes that used to come through around ages I say from 17 to 23 or 4, and like 4 of them got killed. But it's other ones that kept going and still grinded. You know what I'm saying? The other ones that work, take care of their family, graduated from school and everything. So I think the main focus is the ones that want it. You know what I'm saying? You can't. If we worry too much about all the ones we're not catching, we're forgetting about the ones that we are getting to. And I think that's where it starts at, is the ones that you can reach and you put into them, pour into them, the ones that want it, because we know a lot of us don't want it.
Yeah. And I want to also like say this, like, damn, I probably forgot it that quick. But damn, I forgot it that quick. Damn.
Well, you think of it, let me say this. This is what the recreation centers was about. This is what outreach programs were about. This was what, Boy Scouts, YMCA, Girl Scouts, all of these different things was what they were all about. Now they're depleting, because guess what? We don't have neighborhoods anymore. We just got a bunch of places where people dwell. They're not. You have no idea how many people I asked, do you know your neighbor? They don't even know their fucking neighbor. Yeah. You've been living there for like 3 or 4 years, and you don't know your neighbor. This is where we at now.
Yeah.
So when we talking about children, I get it. But there were already things that were in place that has been taken away, whether it was government or whether it was the community itself. These things were taken away from these children, and you got children being born out of some bullshit. 19-year-old dad, 19-year-old mom. He just hit it off. He met her at the damn strip club. She was a jump off. Now she pregnant. What it is now? She don't know. She don't really know that dude. You got a whole bunch of doggone kids that are being born where the mama and the daddy didn't even know each other.
Well, JT, then what do you do? Because you can't run from it forever. So what do you do?
No, I'm not running. This is my thing. I'm not the one that's dealing with it. What I'm saying is that I'm already where my community is, and the thing is that I'm very active in my community. I've been here for like 3 years, so I'm fairly active in my community when it comes down to knowing my people coming around, we talking to each other, going around knowing each other, whatever, seeing what it is. Like we got some right now where we got to get ready to vote in. They're trying to take this park and trying to put some houses on this park. And I mean, it's a long story where at the end of the day, a lot of kids in my neighborhood, they go to another neighborhood, which is right down the street in another city, and they go to that school because that school is a lot bigger. It's not necessarily a better school, but we already know when you're talking about kids that live in one city and they go in another city, they don't really like that for the simple fact that you don't get the money allocated to you, which, you know, a lot of people want that money to be allocated to them so they can, you know, get the things that they need for these public schools. But when you got 60% of your children in your neighborhoods not going to the school that's in that district and they going to a different one, man, they want to get rid of the school. It goes back to what you was talking about as far as redlining. Those white folks, when they were going out of those neighborhoods, man, they was also taking the stores. They were also taking whatever else that they had, their businesses, and they were moving them to other cities. Once you do that, that doggone neighborhood depletes. And the only thing you got is a bunch of Section 8 people living there now. You can see the difference in a neighborhood when you see a bunch of people that own houses versus a bunch of people that rent. You can see a big difference in the neighborhoods. Huge difference.
Even bigger when you see people that work for what they got and they didn't get something from the government. Like, and I ain't knocking people on Section 8.
Yes.
Yeah, I ain't knocking people on Section 8 because I got it before. It helped me out a lot to now I'm on my feet. Because when I got out of service,
it's supposed to get you on your feet. But we got people that has been raised on it and they're on it. Right. Their mama had it. Their grandmama had it. Their mama had it. Now they got it. Everybody's living off of it.
And
that's not what it was built for. It was built for to help people when you fall on hard times.
A period of time and then get off of that shit. It blew my mind. I didn't even know nothing about it, man. I had one of the ladies at one of my jobs be like, man, because she found out how much I was paying in rent. She was like, that's ridiculous. You don't even make that much money. She, I be out here. I used to sell lingerie to girls and shit. Used to make some money. I used to do whatever I got to do to get that.
Doing the baby boy.
Hey, man, I'm like, this look good on you, girl.
You was Jody from Baby Boy.
Yo, I got on that shit and I stacked my bread up. Took me 1 year and got off. But like what JT said, a lot of these kids, they grew up like it's generation after generation. Mama's getting food stamps, daughter's getting food stamps, grandma got food stamps, Section 8, whether they living in the projects or not. And it's like you see the difference between the people that have worked their ass off to get their home, pay for it, buy that shit up because they're gonna keep it nice. They care about their communities, and I've seen it with a lot of, especially in the city I stay in, because we got a lot of historical areas, and these people don't want to rent to Section 8 people, and these people on Section 8 get mad about it. I'm like, don't get mad. They're not doing it because of you. It's the problem that the people in the neighborhood know the people that have came through before and done shit. Because people that live on Section 8 don't give a fuck about. Like, I'm not saying not all of them, but I've seen ladies.
But majority is like that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's be for real. Like I don't want to be around that type of environment either. Economically, I don't really have a choice, so I'm here. But I don't want to be around that type of environment because these people don't care about anything. They get in the government's money, rather our money, because it's the taxpayers' money. And they can sit there and destroy and deface their dwelling where they live at in the neighborhood, you know, and have no regard for it, as opposed to a homeowner who works and earns that money and pays for their home. You're gonna see the upkeep. You're gonna see the neighborhood, like JT said, be kept well, as opposed to in the hood. But I also think that that's almost by design that they did that. And also think about when this all started. That was what, in the 40s and 50s with this redlining. Is that
I'm sorry.
With the redlining, that majority. Remember, at that time, it was still segregated schools. So when we then wanted to integrate with the white schools, those people, those teachers, some stayed on and some really left. And so the ones that left, we still have that kind of, you know, that kind of, is what I'm saying is representative. Like, our children, because now there's more Hispanic and Black children that go to schools together, and they kind of outrun the white children. You still got white teachers in there, and I feel like that's a disservice. I feel like we need to have more of us in the school system representing, because we understand the dynamics of these children. They don't. They can kind of just get a grasp of it, but to understand our children emotionally, and you know, there's certain different upbringings as from the way we grew up to in comparison to the way they grow up. And so I feel like we need, like, especially in New York City, and I'm speaking specifically about that because our school systems have majority of white women teaching, you know, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Black children, Caribbean children. And it's far and few that there will be a Hispanic teacher, or, you know, or other. And
somebody that can relate to them.
Yeah.
Somebody that knows about their life experiences.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, I just want to just say real quick, because I remember what I was supposed to say, but the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying when it comes to children, because I just feel like if we're gonna just have the conversation, the children have to be involved. If we trying to, especially when we're talking about creating a solution, I feel like anything that's need to be created, it have to be created for long term. And regardless, I just feel like it have to be built around children, because we know children's not going to be children not for too long. So
children are the future. I think that the only time that you got pushed back on it, because we said, like, we had a lot of people talk about, like, especially us growing up, people always say children are the future, children are the future.
And you know what, JBJ, I'm sorry to cut you off, bro. This is the reason why I have the mindset. Because when I was a kid, I had people telling me that, oh, you're the future, you're the future.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, we're the future. Do you believe that most of the resources and money should be around children then?
The issue, like, we can put all the resources we want around these kids all damn day long. The reason that I believe that children are the future, but we have to add a caveat to it. The parents have to be the focus of it. Because we can send our kids out to any of these institutions. We can send them to the Boys and Girls Club during the summertime and have them be around other people, mentors and stuff. But these kids still have to come to a home. They got to come home somewhere. If their parents aren't right, that's going to be a big deterrent for these kids to be successful in life. Because, man, like, I've seen kids that smartest kid in the classroom. We got out, like, the high school I went to, man, we had resources. We had a lot of resources in my city growing up. And you saw the kids who grew up in fucked up homes. Excuse my language. We saw the kids. They would come to school and they would do good on their stuff, but you'll start to see a decline in their schoolwork. Or let's say they play sports. You'll see a decline in their performance on the basketball court or the football field because of some of the things they're dealing with at home. So I always say we got to check these parents first, because we do have a lot of people making babies that aren't ready to have kids. We got a lot of that going on.
Economics, social economics.
And you know what the funny thing is? I can't even blame it on the age, because people have always been having kids around 18, 17, for generations, decades. But the problem was people understood back in the day what that entailed. We actually knew how to build families. We knew how to have a structure. We had a structure. We had a foundation.
Yep.
It was basically to build a family. They were. I mean, granted, you had people that was having sex. It was always a recreational thing. But when you're talking about the majority, the basics were to build a family. Matter of fact, you had people that deliberately had a bunch of fucking kids so they can help with the work. Shit.
I need a kid to go ahead and look. The kids would do a lot of stuff back in the day. This one cut the grass, this one water the plants. Like
you had people that had a bunch of kids because they was like, shit, at least I'm gonna have, you know, if we have 9 children, we're gonna at least have half of those 9 children that's gonna be successful. They actually was betting on their children. And once they had those children, they was doing their best to mold those children into what it was that they needed to get them to be an adult, to be a productive adult. Right now, you got a bunch of people growing weeds. I'm sorry to say it like that, but they are. They're growing a bunch of fucking weeds. They're having these damn kids knowing damn well that they don't need to be having kid number 5 with daddy number 4.
But we also got to look at the fact what Rob is trying to say, and I agree with him. Regardless of when it comes to the kids, because ain't nobody caring. Like these parents nowadays ain't giving a damn about their kids. Or it's one parent that cares on one side. And we gotta realize, regardless of what, these kids are gonna make money some kind of way, whether they're productive or they become a statistic. So the prison's gonna make money off your child if you don't make sure your child make money. So it's ways. Yeah, so it's ways that we can do this. And the sad thing is, a lot of it's going to take coercion. That's what it's going to take. It's going to have to be a certain situation where, all right, look at Charleston White. He's blowing up on the internet. One is off of interest. One is off of hate.
Who is this guy? Because I keep hearing his name and I'm like lost.
He claimed to be a comedian, but
he a dude. Really, what he's a pissed off activist, and I almost can't like him. I almost can't like talking myself. Yeah.
Was he like clowning Kwame Brown at one point? Is that the same?
Yeah, Kwame Brown. He just
talking about that. He looks like a crackhead, but I think I know who you're talking about.
Yep. That's
he looked like Cat Williams if Crack Williams.
Had no money. Brother, that'll be.
Oh, he's black. I don't like that.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like but he's taking off because certain things he's saying, a lot of black people agree with. That's just like that black lady. That's the DA in Atlanta right now. We got a lot of black people that love her. We gonna get these Negroes off the streets because they causing so much confusion. Like when I seen this one video this young lady made, she said named 10 places not to go in Atlanta, and one of the places was Lenox Mall.
Yeah.
You gotta have money to go there, but people getting robbed in the damn parking lot.
Yeah. Parking.
That's where all your strippers and your rappers be. That's what they be doing.
That's where the problem is at. So now we end up having to stereotype our own people. We have to be prejudiced to some of our own people. And the thing is,
but we should be.
Yeah,
what's going on? Because it could cost you your life. So yeah,
I
ain't mad about that.
I'm saying in our community, that's one of our biggest problems, man. We do not like for real. We need to be like, here go. We talk about when we deal with ladies that are unruly, disrespectful, act really masculine. We say out, get the fuck out, not dealing with you. We need to say the same shit about everybody in our community. Anybody that is a detriment to our, because think about it. It could be 5 black folks that go out there and do the right thing, but it'd be one motherfucker that go out there and do the wrong thing, and now everybody's looking at all the rest of us like we gonna do the same thing that fucker did. We need to kick these people out of our goddamn community. I'm tired of all this.
You would have somebody in your entourage that you don't know, and guess what? That's where the troublemaker is. Everybody in trouble because of what this fool done did right there. That's remember when people talking about I ain't gonna never let nobody that I don't know in my car. At least you got a lot of people that's doing that now. You know how many people that have spent a whole bunch of time in jail because somebody done left something in their car because they all got stopped?
Yep.
And they said no snitch policy.
People, yeah.
The basketball player in Miami Bank.
Where you be like, nah, I'm not fucking with you.
And the sad part to get me that no snitching shit. Snitching is for criminals. So if you ain't committing a goddamn crime, I don't like people. Look, no bullshit.
It's a criminal code. It's a criminal code. It's not a civilian code at all. It means don't you be out here doing some shit and the same shit you doing because you got caught. You don't
tell everybody else.
Dog, we caught now.
Yeah, they got us, y'all. Come on out. They got us.
Yeah, they got you, nigga.
But if you see somebody get shot or something like that, and you seeing that it was a black car, or whatever, you got the license plate on it. You even had somebody to try to follow it. You got it on camera, whatever, so you can help the people get those murderers out of your neighborhood. Because you're not speaking up, that's why they still there. Because you're not being courageous.
Scaring those people. When I hear people nowadays say, for the civilian versus somebody who's in the streets, that's bullshit because y'all pump the civilians. Y'all the stuff y'all do cause harm to the civilians. So when they call the police on y'all, you want to you snitching. It's like, no, that's not what snitching is. And then you want to go take their life because you wasn't a smooth criminal.
Man, look,
this is the thing about the civilians. It's way more of us than it is y'all. And you got a whole bunch of men that are civilians that can do something to them cats.
Yep.
Just like they get off, they'll let you off.
I had me and my next door neighbor. She kept telling me about shit. Because like when I moved in, I tried to go around and meet the people in my neighborhood. And I went to 3 houses where I actually communicate with these people and we got a good relationship. These other motherfuckers, I don't talk to them because they niggas. But she kept telling me about this house across the street. She's like, it's always something going on. It's always something going on. And I remember the other night, it was some dudes out there arguing. I'm talking about it's like fucking this Thanksgiving night. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm up playing video games getting fucked up because I'm killing people on Madden. So I'm like, man, what the fuck going on? And she called my phone. This an older lady. She work at the University Hospital. She don't stay up late. She not calling my phone this late if it ain't no problem. Because I had the music blasted, so I couldn't hear none of that shit. So she called me like, man, these motherfuckers out here doing shit. So I go outside. I already got to have my strap on me anyway because these motherfucking niggers. I'm like, hey, bro, man, y'all need to take that shit on, bro. You need to take that shit on, bro. And it's like, nah, man, who the fuck you talk to, cuz? You better take your ass back in the house. I was like, all right, bet. I can't see all y'all right now. I'll go back in the house. Toot, toot, toot. Hey, man, these motherfuckers out here got some dudes out here with a bunch of fucking guns. They probably got some drugs on them. I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, y'all need to
white ass motherfucker.
Bro, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they got guns out there.
Everything. Hey, you know how to get these motherfuckers over here, and motherfuckers be like, man, that's fucked up. You could have got a black man killed. Look, dude, you don't live in this fucking neighborhood. We got people that work in this neighborhood, and y'all coming over here arguing on Thanksgiving night outside, smoking weed, got guns out and all this voodoo shit. Hell no, get the fuck on. Go to your project and do that bullshit. Don't come in my neighborhood, because that house, I swear it's a crack house. Like, I swear it's a fucking crack house. All I see is Section 8 motherfuckers come around there. I got white people that live in my neighborhood, but I know a white crackhead when I see one. I'm just gonna put it like that. And I'm like, dude, you're not doing this shit.
And Dickie shorts with
bro, I swear for Lord, you're not doing this shit right here. I'm talking about when I see you outside, when I go to work at 6:30 in the morning, y'all already out there chilling and drinking. I know what the fuck going on. Your motherfuckers ain't got nothing going on with your life. I don't give a fuck if you ain't doing shit with yourself. But don't bring no shit to this neighborhood.
That ain't my issue. Yeah.
Don't bring no shit to this neighborhood. I told them motherfuckers I'd be a part of the goddamn neighborhood watch. Because if it come down to it, I'll go out there and shoot one of them motherfuckers if it came down to it. I'm not trying to do that. The military days are behind me, but you're not coming to where people spend their hard-earned money to come home and rest. We go out into the world, we fight the world every fucking day, and nobody should have to come home and deal with any of that bullshit.
Deal with that bullshit,
yeah. We got a problem.
That's why white folks call the police. That's why white folks call the police. They won't nothing.
But they be calling the police on some bullshit, though, man. I seen.
No, I know. I get that, but I'm just saying that's why white folks will call the police instead of talking to your ass.
Yeah, I go out and say something to them.
Yeah, they don't want no trouble, but they gonna tell.
Yeah, if it was them, they were selling crack.
I be having motherfuckers. I be telling them all the time, dude, don't park in front of my fucking driveway. You can park in front of my house all you want. I don't care because I know the law. That's a public road. You can park where the fuck you want, but do not block my motherfucking driveway. Motherfucker look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, what the fuck you looking at, nigga? Don't park in my fucking driveway, nigga. I'll get your shit towed. And they get mad at me like, dude, I done called a tow truck one time for a motherfucker on that shit. That motherfucker hopped in his car as soon as he seen the tow truck dude come around the corner. Because I sat outside and just waited. I was like, yeah, you can be here in about 10 minutes. Because all these resources are right around me. I got a tow truck company right down the fucking street. The police department ain't that damn far away either. Like, man, everybody can get here within 5 minutes, bro. Like, move your shit. And it's a problem that a lot of these niggas don't respect other people's shit. And we gotta weed them bitches out. We gotta weed them the fuck out.
That's the biggest issue because we say black folks, but we know
now separated. Older, the expectations change. People grow up.
Who said that?
Rob, but then he muted his shit.
Like, damn.
But
Rob, say that again. That sound like somebody else. That didn't sound like Rob.
That was Rob.
That was Rob. All right. Well, look, man.
That wasn't me.
The problem is, it's like
that wasn't me.
See, I thought it wasn't him. That wasn't his voice. Who said that, Rob?
Oh, well, I guess not. But
this was an echo.
But the issue is, it's like we categorize each other when we say black folks turn. We know damn well it's them ninjas. We know it. That's
why we keep making that distinction all the time. Me and Op been on this shit for like the last month. There's a difference. There's black people and there's niggas. There's goddamn crackers and there's white people. There's goddamn, well, I don't know the words for the Mexicans and all them and the Asians, but you know, we know the difference. There's a difference between the two. I'm a black man. I ain't no nigga. Even though I might call somebody else a nigga and somebody might call me a nigga. We just do that to play around. But we know who niggas is.
It's definitely a quality of people within every ethnic background. No doubt about it. And the thing is this. When you got people that don't value life, they can get the fuck on from me. They can get the fuck on. And this is the thing. And it goes back to what Rob was talking about as far as the kids. Hey, man, you ain't gonna be able to save all of them.
No, you don't. But that's what I was saying earlier. We can't, when you try to have that save the world mentality, it's even more frustrating than trying to put the world on your shoulders. You can't. You only can work with proximity of what's around you. And that's
better to. It is. I think it's just better for us to encourage family building.
Yep. It's not slavery, ladies. It's not slavery. Look, I swear, Lord, look. When I heard my younger sister say that shit, I was like, man, you need to get you a man, man. You got to eat 2 kids, 2 baby daddies. You don't even know who the other baby daddy is. Like, come on, man. You need to get your shit together and get with a man, partner with a good dude. For what? For what? So I can be his slave?
Yeah, I heard somebody say that too. And I
was like, what the fuck are you talking? I'm like, they ain't got to you too. I already knew you was fucked up in the head, but damn, they got you
over other people's fear. It be some shit that don't even exist. You're like, how do you let your imagination get you way out there?
Man,
to be a slave.
These motherfuckers in that feminist movement, and then like I have people ask me all the time, why even cover Cynthia G? Why even cover any of these diverse ladies? Because these the ones that these hoes listening to.
You see the following that bitch guy?
Yeah. I'm like, some dude told me I was dumb for covering her. Why you need to not focus on her? You need to focus on some other shit. I had to do a whole video on this dude, Corey Thomas. I'm like, bitch, you telling me not to focus on a lady that had 115,000 subscribers. She is influencing women, and you telling me don't check her. Focus on the men. Bitch, take your soft ass home. Take your soft ass home, weak ass nigga. Like I can't stand these pie ass motherfuckers, man. Cause like I swear, back in my military days, my high school days, if a motherfucker would have said some dumb shit like that to me, I would have knocked that bitch the fuck out, and I probably would have kicked him in his face when he was on the ground. Like I don't play with shit like that. Cause I'm like,
Jay.
Look, dude, I don't play with it. Like you see, when I get animated about shit, bro, I get tired of fucking ignorance. It's one thing to have a conversation and you're trying to help something, and then you have somebody that come in acting like they holier than thou, saying dumb shit. I'm like, bitch, you sound like the motherfuckers that argued for sexual liberation, and now they complain that they can't get a fucking man. Why the fuck would I buy the cow when I can get the milk for free? Think about your decisions before you fucking open your goddamn mouth. Don't talk about a bitch that's influencing people to say delete your son. Like, come on now. That's crazy. I'm gonna call these stupid ass hell raising bitches out.
But that's where we got messed up right there, is by thinking, oh, I ain't gonna worry about it. Then when that shit hit your front doorstep,
yeah,
that
be the shit that give me a wife vote. That shit give me a wife vote. The police are great, and then they kill your son. I don't know why they killed him. They been doing it, bitch. Call them out.
Yeah, like Dave Chappelle said, you want to know what's gonna happen to y'all? Look at our community first.
It's going. They start with us. They coming to you. I seen them brutal.
We the canaries in the coal mine.
Dude, we all saw that video where that white dude was at a hotel and they came in at guns blazing with their ARs because somebody called the police on him, said he was doing something, and they made him walk down that hallway talking about fucking walk to me, crawl to me, get up, and all this shit. And they gunned this man down. They was like, I can't believe that happened. I'm like, dude, they do it every fucking day. The problem is y'all don't care about it. And the fucked up shit is they kill more white people, they kill black people. I be like, why the fuck y'all defending them?
Right.
They kill y'all.
During the same time that shit happened with George Floyd. The same thing happened to a white man. It just so happened that they were like weeks apart from each other. So George Floyd one got more publicity, but they and people were saying it. They were saying because the narrative was that we're just the only ones that they're killing. It ain't like they not doing it at a high rate. You know, that wasn't an argument. But when people were saying, no, man, y'all wrong. They just killed this man here. They just killed this man here. And they both were white. And one dude got choked out. The same way that George Floyd got choked out was the same way that he got.
But you know what our problem with it is?
That story.
You know what our problem with it is, though? What frustrates me? Just like Jay said, if they killing more of y'all folks, then y'all should really be stop this whole trying to take up for them. But the problem is when we voice our opinions about what's going on with us, then it comes to, oh, well, look how many of y'all commit crimes. That's why so many of y'all get killed. And then when they bring up what happened to they vote, it's, oh, well, I mean, it's more of us than it is y'all, but y'all, it's too many of y'all still getting killed. And it's like, hold on, so you mad at us for voicing our opinion? You mad at us for trying to stand up against? That's just like when Africans come over and be like, oh, slavery is over. But it's like,
nah, still
those are the ones that don't know anything about their heritage either. See, you got a lot of people from Africa that knows nothing about what their heritage is either. Yeah. They have no idea.
Yeah, they actually think some of them actually think nigga is an actual race.
Yeah. So they don't even understand the whole Ethiopia. They don't even. You get some of them to argue the Ethiopia thing out also. Like a lot of these folks don't care. They don't know anything, especially when you got like Northeast Africans that knows nothing about what's going on in South Africa.
Yep.
And they're right next to them in the same continent, and they know nothing about what's going on in South Africa.
Oh, they know how to mind their business for real.
That's why I be telling motherfuckers like, I don't got a problem if you mind your damn business. I don't have a problem if you're not knowledgeable about everything that's going on in the world. But hold your tongue when you speak on shit. If you don't know about what you're talking about,
if you know the shit.
Yeah, look, man, I got into an argument with Angry Man on YouTube about fucking slavery being legal in the United States, and lo and behold, fucking goddamn during this midterm, what the fuck was on the goddamn ballot? Abolishing fucking slavery. And I'm like, y'all motherfuckers want to sit around. You don't know about what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up. Like, don't get mad because you don't know. And we got a lot of people that speak on things, especially white folks. Because I tell them folks, man, look, man, they kill y'all more than they kill all of us. But the problem is the media is a big proponent of what goes on in society. When they show you something, that's all you see. And all you see is black folks being killed. And a lot of people have a mindset of, it's not happening to me, it's not my problem. But when you actually break down the stats like we did the other night, you remember how I got out of hand as soon as I started it. As soon as they got out of hand when I started bringing up the FBI stats. Motherfuckers want to get triggered. And I'm like, look at the stats. Stop talking about what you see on the media because it controls the narrative.
What do they try to say? Yeah, but you can't trust that because that's the white supremacists.
Listen real quick, guys. We getting close to the 3-hour mark. I done missed Walmart. Walmart then closed on me. I can't go to Walmart and buy nothing. So I got to catch whatever store around me that I could catch. So before we get up out of here, real quick, Jay, let them know where to catch you at real quick.
Why I gotta go first?
JT and Rob, let them know where to catch you at then.
All right, man. You can catch me. You can catch me and Rob at What We Know Podcast. Shit is, pretty much the same type of things that you dudes talking about over here, man.
I don't know, because y'all like Candace Owens over there.
No, I mean, I don't like, let me tell you something. I don't follow anybody. You know, if they say something that makes sense, it makes sense. I fuck with them. If they say something that don't make sense, I'll say that shit's fucked up too. So, you know, I just don't.
I don't
hold
agree
it
with.
to
Yeah,
me
I
up
don't agree
on
with
the pedestal.
everything she say, but
Yeah.
I don't judge people that I don't like. But I don't agree with everything. You know, so I feel like a lot of shit she say is valid, and a lot of shit she say.
Oh yeah, they got a good script right over there for them to follow. Yeah. Foxy Moon. Foxy, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, let them know where to catch you at.
So I want to thank you and Rob for having me up on the panel. Salute to you guys as well. And you guys could check me out at Foxy Moon Premieres Wednesday morning Eastern Standard Time, 10:45, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Mondays, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
Hey Foxy, I need another reading too, man, because I ain't find that old cougar. So
hey,
can
I
talking about don't nobody want you, Jay? That's apparently what it is.
man.
Can I say something real quick?
Except the man. But go ahead. What you say, Rob?
I want to say something. I know earlier I was like, you know, I was telling you my experience with the t-shirts and shit. Now I want to tell people this, like, you know, customer service is very important. All I'm saying is don't have motherfuckers out here trying to fucking try you and shit. All right, because you know a lot of motherfuckers just out here trying because you starting off. Shit. You know, my problem is back in the day, if my goddamn shirts is $10 or $15, nigga, don't ask me about no motherfucking material. Like, you know,
really let that shit go.
All right. You see the motherfucker, you see the Hanes tag on the back, nigga.
Are you buying or not?
You fucking buy it or not, nigga. It's $10, $15, nigga. I don't want to hear that.
All right, and you can find JBG and Let's
Hold
Talk
up, man. I was
with
gonna say
JBG.
my own shit.
Oh, okay. You got like you don't want to say that.
I just didn't want to go first, man. I don't like being put on the spot like that, man. You know I'm shy. And look, man, y'all know y'all come over and find me over on Let's Talk with JBJ. Find me on Tuesdays when we do J Talk Sports. I'm over there whooping Death Note ass because you know I know these sports and these other people don't. Rob ain't gonna say nothing to you. And,
shout out to the Lions.
You can find me. Look, also check me out on JB Gaming, bro. I be over here whooping motherfuckers ass on that Madden and getting shot in the back of the head on that Call of Duty. Y'all check that shit out too. And I got a cooking show coming for y'all eventually, bro. I'm gonna get up in the kitchen and show y'all what I do. I'm gonna start posting some pictures, man. Y'all know I went to school.
You cook?
Loaves. You're making them jail loaves.
Hey man, I make a
prison loaf.
Yeah, I make anything. Well, here, besides, I don't be baking though. Like, yo, I'm not making no sweets. Shut the fuck up. I don't make no sweets because I don't eat sweets, y'all. But when it comes to everything else, bro, I get down in the kitchen, man. I love that shit. Like this man over here talking shit because all he know how to do is cook spaghetti.
bruh.
Thank you, Death Note.
All right, y'all. We about to get up out of here.
Oh, one more shout out, bro. I'm sorry. One more shout out.
Okay. Just don't talk about the t-shirt and customer service again, man.
I'm off that. I'm off that.
All right. Cool.
Hey, shout out to U of M. You know what I'm saying? Go Blue. You know, we tap Ohio State.
Down.
We tap that ass. That's what I just want to say. All right. Thank you.
Fuck you, Red.
And Foxy, you got to subscribe. We just subscribed to you too.
And all y'all need to go subscribe to my goddamn gaming and sports channel too, man. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, I definitely want to have you on our show too, bro. Definitely.
All right.
I said I just subscribed to you. We just subscribed to your channel.
Copy that. I got you. Thank you.
You too, Foxy.
Y'all
I want you to come on
collabs, y'all. Me and Rob already got it set up with the collabs between the two channels. So if y'all want to do a collab, Op and JT and all y'all, look, man, it's already set up in here. I got the intro over here on our side. Tap Op, we have to add in a couple of things for you, Op. We got to get you a personalized one.
For sure. All right.
For sure.
I appreciate everybody on the panel for coming through. I appreciate everybody in the chat, everybody watching the show.
Oh, definitely.
So remember, every Sunday now at 8 p.m. Sorry, it was 30 minutes late tonight because I went to Burger King. Some white chick was wiping her nose while she was sniffling and pulling snot out of her nose and got mad because I canceled my order. Nasty motherfucker. But anyways, every Sunday, 8 p.m., make sure y'all check me out. All right, make sure you subscribe to the channel Out from the North 18. And I apologize, I got to delete the other one. So if y'all see the other one, it ain't got no subscribers on it. My main one has almost 2,000 subscribers. All right, so make sure y'all subscribe to that one. So
thanks to your boy.
Yeah. Women bring forth life. Men plant the seed. Okay? So
he ain't want to say nothing about that.
If you want, man, I remember I used to go out with I used to take an ugly chick out with me on purpose. Just to get other chicks.
A lot of these women choose men who are weaker or choose men who are fuckboys and then complain about the very same attributes.
Male and all this dominant shit.
Doing something. You gotta be careful about that type of shit. Jay, what you right now? You're trying to steal another idea. You're stealing another idea. Tell the truth, ain't you?
Nah, I just came over that.
It has nothing to do with that.